Welcome everybody to another BDA Boxing live podcast, brought to you from the true north, Canada. This is Mr. BDA with you, and as always, my co-host King Butcher, who is, as I understand it, busy right now working on something, but he'll be joining us in just a little while, so we'll give him some time to do what he has to do. First things first, if you want to join us, as always, go to Google Hangouts and instant messages via the email address. It's on the top of your screen, boxingdebate@hotmail.com. That's boxingdebate@hotmail.com. Don't email us. You gotta instant messages, and then that way we talk and we arrange for you to come on the Hangout. Let me tell you something. Over here, I don't know where you are right now. I hope you're somewhere warm. I hope you're in Morocco, Miami, Los Angeles, maybe a nice Mexican villa or Spanish villa, just taking in the nice sun, a little vitamin D. Because where we are right now, Canada, oof, freezing. Let me tell you something, freezing, and there's a strain of something going around. People are dropping like flies left and right, getting sick with the flu. It ain't gonna happen to Mr. BDA, let me tell you. It happens to Mr. BDA every year, once a year. Always sick like a dog, lying in bed, you know, sweating profusely. Well, actually, the sweating profusely happens every night. But, I mean, when I have the fever or something, boom, 10 times worse. It's actually disgusting. And hopefully, no, not hopefully, I am going to avoid it. And I know King Butcher is gonna avoid it, even though he got sick a couple of weeks ago, I believe. It's on record in one of the past podcasts. You can look it up. He was sick, he was sniffing. I actually thought he was on something. You never know with Mr. B and with King Butcher. We got the chat room. Mr. Coxey is in. He says, "Sup, Mr. BDA." Hello, Mr. Coxey. Rasclaw222 says, "What's up, fellas? What's up to you back?" And alright. Before Bucho comes in, I'm gonna tell you, I was thinking about something. I've been watching Deontay Wilder's fights because I'm working on we're working on a little project here to analyze the upcoming Ortiz versus Wilder fight. And one thing I've noticed about Wilder is, you know, we've criticized him before, his lack of technique, that he tends to be wild, no pun intended. Every time he misses, he's off balance. When he gets a guy hurt, he just flails like a guy from a tough many contest. But I've been watching a lot of his fights very closely now, really getting down to the details. And yes, he does make a lot of mistakes, but I'm starting to see what makes him effective, and it's not just his power. There's a little, you know, feistiness inside of him that makes him very hard to hit. Now, of course, catch-22 is, some people say, well, of course he's fought nothing but bumps. Let me tell you something. Yes, his competition has not been stellar, but so far nobody's really been able to attack him all that cleanly. I know Molina was able to catch him. What's his name? Stiverne was able to catch him with a couple of shots in the first fight. Spilka as well, but really it's harder to hit him than it looks. Now, is it because he's been fighting shorter people and he can get away with it with his length? I don't know. But we're going to take a look at that in the upcoming weeks. Deontay Wilder's hectic style. We're also going to be looking at Luis Ortiz's style. I see King Bucho is in the chat room moderating. King Bucho, are you on the mic?
Yeah, why didn't you put the Gassiev picture on?
I was supposed to put the Gassiev picture on.
You didn't put that one I sent you.
Well, there were two pictures. Anyway, is this really necessary during the podcast? We're going to talk about thumbnails. What is Kiwi Boxing is saying? Are you going to talk about Gassiev versus Usyk today? Well, of course. If you want to, we'll talk about that as well. You know, we talked about it Saturday, but we can definitely talk about it more because I was rewatching the fight and there's new wrinkles added to that fight that I would love to talk about. I don't know about you, Bucho. If you want to talk about that one again, we can certainly do that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's talk about Gassiev-Dorticos again.
All right. So, did you rewatch the fight since Saturday?
Yeah, but I skipped through some rounds. I didn't see the whole thing again.
Okay, so what would you like to add about the fight that we didn't on Saturday, right after we did it?
The Ramirez fight against what's his name, Hamed or the Ghanaian.
What about it? Yeah, what about it?
That's the fight we didn't watch. I didn't watch. Is that what you asked me? I don't know. You're cutting off now.
Okay, I asked you what do you want to add about the Gassiev-Dorticos fight?
Well, we can talk about the final.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we can revisit the fight. It was a great fight. I think people want to hear more about it. That's what I'm seeing in the chat.
Okay, now I gotta ask people in the chat room. Are we cutting off, or is the signal coming in crystal clear? We just need to wait a little bit. What's that? Like okay.
Oh, we have James Toney there.
No, he's in. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, people. See, I brought up. Is this the James Toney?
What's up? BDA, what's going on?
Hey, James. First of all, let me tell you, it's an honor talking to you. I mean, it's not every day we get legends like you in the BDA boxing arena. Let me tell you something. People love to say, throw the word legend around. Oh, this guy's a legend. This guy's a legend. The other day, I met a guy in a bar, and people call him the legend. He's not a legend. He gets thrown around too loosely. You, my friend, on the other hand, bona fide legend. How are you, James?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, sensational. Well, we're up here in Canada. Where are you right now? Which city?
I'm in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Oh, okay. Oh, so you're
by Detroit.
So you're experiencing the cold just like we are, huh?
For sure, definitely.
Well, I hope you're not freezing any particular areas that are more sensitive, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I got you. I got you.
All right, James. First of all, yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about, every time people mention James Toney, invariably they mention your greatest enemies inside the ring, right? We're talking, well, let's talk about the guy who's going to be fighting tomorrow, Roy Jones Jr. He's 49 years old. He's going to be fighting. He says it's his last fight. I know you fought, after, during your 40s. So my question to you is, I mean, can you relate to what Roy Jones is going through right now, that he still wants to keep on fighting, but at the same time he knows it's...
definitely. I have dreams about it every night, but it is what it is. I'll fight if I really want to, but hey, it has to be the right fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely, man. Now, this is something I've always wanted to ask you, which is, you always had that, I've seen your sparring videos, and you talk to people during sparring. You love to talk to them, and you love to spar a lot. And in my opinion, or in my experience, people that love to spar genuinely love to fight. Now, is that something that pre-boxing, were you in a lot of confrontations, or were you a laid-back guy?
Could you please repeat that, because you kind of breaking up?
Okay, yeah. You like to spar a lot, and in my experience, people that spar a lot like to fight. So before you got into boxing, were you a fighter, or were you a laid-back guy that just found boxing and said, this is what I want to do all the time?
No, I've been boxing since I was 10 years old.
Jeez.
It's just after my football career was over with in high school because of the grades, I fell back on boxing as my favorite sport because I wanted to play in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That was my initial goal. But boxing, it worked out for me. It's been great to me. It's given me a lot of great things. I met a lot of great people.
Now, that's the thing. I had heard that you used to play football. How much did you weigh when you were playing?
When I was playing football, I was 205. But I turned pro at 157.
Jesus.
And the reason why, because everybody could tell me I was too small, they crushed me and all that. I was listening to the wrong people instead of listening to myself.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you lose that weight?
Always the constant battle with the weight. That's why.
Yeah, I imagine, man. I can imagine. Now, how did you manage to go from 205 to 157? Was that over the process of years, or?
No, it took me 1 year to be exact. I was running sweat boxes. I mean, it was crazy. Whatever it was, I did.
Jesus. Okay, so so about 50 something or 40 something pounds in the span of a year.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good, man. I mean, hey, boxing will do that to you. If you're training every day.
And that's why I fought so much, twice a month. Because I had to keep I was always in a constant battle with my weight. My weight was my biggest battle.
Yeah, I can.
Not the fight.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. Now, I've seen your your sparring videos, and I saw a video. There's a video on YouTube from the Kronk gym, and you're sparring the murderous punching Gerald McClellan, and he couldn't land a glove on you.
Could you repeat that, please? I can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, you were sparring Gerald McClellan in a video that I saw on YouTube.
Yeah.
And at the Kronk gym, and he couldn't land a glove on you. He couldn't land on you.
Yeah, but Joe was an exceptional fighter. He can fight, he push hard, but just that day, it was like I said, I took names and numbers and whooped ass.
Yeah, man. Because let me tell you something. Did you used to train at the Kronk gym all the time, or did you just go there for sparring?
No, I was going there for when I need easy work. I go to Kronk.
Yeah, because people always say that Kronk gym was like going into hell, because you had to go down those stairs and it was like literally descending into hell. But you're saying you had an easy time over there?
It was. It was hot because I like training in hot conditions anyway. So when I went there, it was easy work for me because everybody was. When I came in the gym, everybody would be like, "Oh, fresh meat, fresh meat." I said, "Oh, fresh meat." Live bait, baby. I live bait. I'm coming. I'm kicking ass and taking names last. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's what I went in there to do. I did it every day. Every time I went in there, first thing I do, open the door, and say, "Whose ass will get whooped next?"
Now, who were some of the names other than McClellan that you sparred at the Kronk?
Fabian Williams, Darnell Knox.
Mm-hmm. And now, did Emmanuel Stewart ever come over to you and tell you, "Hey, listen, you have to take it easy on my guys. You're lowering their confidence too much"?
No, Emmanuel told he went around telling the reporters that he gave me the jacket. He didn't give me shit. I never wanted to be a cockfighter. I wanted to start my own legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I know Kronk is Tommy's house. Tommy Hearn built Kronk himself.
Right.
I'm telling you, he's a legend. He built the gym on his back.
Now, when you sparred those guys down there, and you said that they said fresh meat. But you said that they said fresh meat. When did they start saying, when did they realize, okay, this guy is on a bit of a different level than we're used to?
No, they saying fresh meat means I'm going to get my ass whooped. They thought. But like I said, I went from fresh meat to live bait.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now let's talk about your style. Because nowadays everybody talks about, Floyd Mayweather, but real boxing fans know that it was James Toney who was doing that way before.
I started. Floyd used to come in the gym. Floyd used to come in the gym and watch me train. He used to ask me questions how I did this and how I did that. Floyd, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking Floyd. He's a tremendous fighter. He did things his way.
Mm-hmm. Now,
but if you look at how I did, it's the right way. You stay in the pocket. You don't leave the pocket with your chin in the air.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we never really saw you backing up all that much. You were always in the pocket.
I don't know how to do that. It's against my religion.
It's against your religion. Well,
Yeah.
now that's the thing, because most people don't realize how hard it is to stay relaxed.
Well, you know, to me at first it was hard because when I first started doing it, I was taking a lot of butt whoopings.
Mm-hmm.
But you learn. That's how you get better. You come back the next day. If you get the heart, you'll come back the next day and try again. I was 18 years old. It just everybody who did me wrong, I got them.
Well, you know, I don't know. Were you friends with Fernando Vargas?
Yeah, that's my guy. That's
Okay.
my guy. I love Fernando.
Because I remember he told a story about how when he was an amateur, he sparred against Yuri Boy Campos, and at that time Campos was a professional fighter, and he really took Vargas to school during their sparring session, and Vargas said that he cried afterwards because he was so frustrated, and then when they finally met in the professionals, he took out all that anger from that sparring session and used it to beat Yuri Boy Campos. So it's almost like you were using the same thing, like that frustration from not doing well in sparring initially, you used it to fuel your career in a sense.
Yeah, but I can agree with him on that because everybody who whooped me up, like Dwight Braxton, Dwight Davidson, Willie Edwards, everybody who whooped me, beat up in the gym, I made sure my older and mature, I got them back and got them back even worse.
Now that's the
my
thing.
goal.
Now that's the thing. Explain to us how professional sparring goes, because obviously you're not going all out, but you are trying to prepare for a fight. So how far would you go in a sparring session normally?
Let me tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
James Toney don't believe in that. Hey, what you do in the gym is what you gonna do in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to like everybody in training. If you ask anybody who was in camp with me, they will tell you I'm trying to knock you out. I'm talking about your mama. I'm talking about your daddy. I'm doing whatever I can do to degrade you and knock you out.
Oh yeah, that's the James Toney approach, and we've seen it on YouTube. There's clips out there of that. But now let me ask you this: after the session is done, after the sparring is done, do you talk to these guys, or is it still a little bit like nah? There's an edge, there's an edge there that you don't get too close to them.
No, when I first came to camp, I don't speak to them. It's just usually my handlers and everybody else around me talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
But after a while, if they do a good job in sparring, I say, "What's up? How you doing?" Blah blah blah. Say, ain't no hanging. I don't do that.
Mm.
Friends in camp, I don't believe in that.
Yeah, because you had to prepare. Like the way you were saying it is, you were going to war, and so you had to prepare for war, right?
So what? You bring it up. Say it again.
Okay, yeah, the way you saw it is you were preparing for war, and you didn't have time to fuck around during sparring.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way. That's one way to see it, man.
Yep. Every day is a war in a gym. I'm gonna make you bleed. But I had a $5,000 bounty on my head. Whoever can drop me will get $5,000.
Ah, okay.
You can do it.
Yeah, I heard Bernard Hopkins used to do that too.
If you look at every film, every sparring session or transition Floyd Mayweather had, it's saying he watched it all for me. He'll all it for me.
That's interesting, man. That's interesting because now let me ask you about who did you borrow from a little bit? Did you watch Georgie Benton back when you were starting out, or like where did you get that style? How did you develop it?
I got from Archie Moore, Ezra Charles, Jojo Walcott,
oh yeah,
and the greatest of all time, Sugar Ray Robinson.
So in other words,
Ali is the greatest heavyweight of all time. Ray Robinson is the greatest fighter of all time.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. And again, not to bring Bernard Hopkins again up too much, but he had a similar. Was that?
Bernard Hopkins, you know what? I'm gonna say like this. Bernard is a good dude. I like him personally, but as a fighter, he sucks.
Well,
very boring.
We're gonna talk about that if we have time, about that fight that never happened between you and him back in 2003. The fight that shoot. Was that?
He he was smart and scared at the same time because you know why?
Why?
The reason why the fight never happened because he was only gonna get $5 million to fight me.
Mm-hmm.
$5 million. I was gonna offer him a fight and gave him 10. So you know, hey, he took the $10 million and got paid, and looked good doing it.
So you're saying it was good business, but it wasn't.
The person was scared to fight me, and then anyway, if it would have fought me, I had a whole bunch of lumps on his head.
Well, now, okay, let's talk about fights also that never happened, because back in, I think, 2004 or 2005, you were supposed to fight Jermil McCline. Now, that would have been quite a fight, because you're 5'9", I believe, or 5'10", and he's listed as being 6'5".
Yeah, I'm 5'9", and he's 6'10".
Jesus Christ! I mean,
no, sorry, 6'7".
6'7". I mean, realistically, how were you? Like, would you have stayed in the pocket against him?
Like I said, I would knock him out too. It don't matter. look at Sam Peters. Sam Peters was 6'5".
Yeah.
Dominic Gwynn was 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
John Reed is 6'4". Everybody I fought was bigger than me. You see how easy I was knocking them out and handling them. I'm in the ring. I'm the top dog. Period. Flat out. I made the fight. The perfect fighter. He made me. Nobody else. Period. I ain't scared of nobody. Period. That's ever.
Yeah. Nobody doubts that you weren't scared, man.
Look what I did. I turned pro at 157. Won the heavyweight title 5 times. You know, I won the heavyweight title 5 times. Won 14 belts in 6 divisions. Look, ain't nobody has ever done that besides the smaller weight guys. Ain't nobody never came from middleweight all the way to heavyweight and stayed. They usually go to heavyweight and go back because they scared to get hurt.
Now that's the thing, man.
Roy Jones Jr.
Now that's
we can talk about this guy all day because he's a fraud. Everybody know y'all call him a great fighter. Okay, he may be a good fighter. He's not the greatest. Because if you're a great fighter, you fight everybody else twice, but you don't give the man which is me, a rematch. Why you never give me a rematch?
Yeah, that's it.
He's a coward.
Yeah, that's it.
Because you know the first time when we fought, he called me while I wasn't ready. No more. Period.
Now the legend is that you had to lose something like 20+ pounds or something 2 weeks before the fight. Is that correct?
28 pounds. 28 pounds. Really that. But all together, I had to lose 44 pounds before the fight.
Wow. Jesus.
I was too busy enjoying myself.
Well, that's the thing. Like, how much time did you have to train total? Like, did they tell you in advance, or what happened there?
Well, what happened was I gave Bob Ram a timetable if I was going to happen. I gave it to him on my birthday, August 24th. I gave it to him on my birthday, August 24th, and then I said, if you don't let me know about my birthday, I'm gone. Me and the boy, we gone. So August 24th came and went. Didn't get no call. Jack didn't tell me nothing. Here we are, September 17th. I'm in Jamaica. Next thing you know, I get a call from Jackie saying the fight's done. We got the money. We can do it. I'm like, Jackie, I'm chilling. I'm fat as hell. You know? And, she said the magic word, $9 million. I was like, okay, I'll be on the line. When I got home, train in the sweat box and run. And by the time I got to the fight, I was weak as hell because I didn't go to my regular training.
Now, I hate to ask, but looking back at it now, like what's it's been 14 years now since that fight. would you have? It's been 14 years now since that fight. Would you, looking back at it now?
No, it's been 24 years.
Oh yeah. Sorry, what am I talking about? 14 years? No. Yeah, 20 years or 24 actually. Anyway, would you do things differently now, looking back at it?
I look back at it, and I wish I would listen to everybody around me and said, "Put up the fight. Don't take the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Get him when you're ready. Get in shape and tear his head off his shoulders." But you know me, be young, dumb, and thought of everything, and I paid the price. I lost. I made Roy Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank. And I'm the only one who's breaking.
Right. All right. That's not supposed to be.
Plus, if you look at the fight again, he cut everybody here. He annihilated me. He ran. He was too scared to sit there and punch. He ran. He didn't even hurt me. In the knockdown, he stepped on my foot.
Now let me ask you this, because you said that Jackie, she was your manager, right? Jackie, what was her name again?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was your manager, and she called you up and she said, "Hey, listen, $9 million, get over here now." What's the type of pressure that's on fighters to take certain fights that they're not ready for at the time? Like as a boxer, have you ever said no to a promoter, or do you have to do it because of the money, or how does that work?
Let me tell you something. I'm James Toney,
Mm-hmm.
the one and only. I don't turn down nothing but my collar. Sometimes I don't do that.
Right.
Look, what I did, I should like I said, but I didn't. I paid the ultimate price. I lost to a guy. Who I should have never lost to. And you know my motto. Everybody know my motto is I fight anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Okay, now let's talk about your fights, because let's go back to the sparring. We mentioned Jamil McCline, that you were gonna fight him, and the fight never happened. Who was the biggest? And when I say biggest, I mean literally in size. What was the size of the biggest guy you ever sparred as a heavyweight?
I'm gonna say Francois Botha.
Ah, the White Buffalo.
Yeah, the White Buffalo. You know who he is.
And he was a big guy too. Like, he was the biggest guy you ever sparred, or strongest?
He's one of the biggest and strongest guys, but it was easy work though. Easy work. Look, my boxing IQ is like no other.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit there in the middle of the ring, make you miss, tear your ass up all day, while I'm in great shape.
Now, in 2000 or around that time, you were training with Freddie Roach, and I think I might be wrong, but wasn't Tyson training with Freddie Roach at that time as well?
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us?
I lost you.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. You were training with Freddie Roach in the early 2000s, and so was Mike Tyson. Did you ever spar with Mike Tyson?
Nope, he wouldn't let me.
Nah.
It would have been great. But see, the thing is, Mike Tyson, he operates on fear. He wants to fear everybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you get somebody like me who's just like him, he don't want this because the men doesn't come out. Great fighter. I admire him. I love watching him fight. Fight with me and him, hands down, James Toney all day.
But wait a minute.
You see what I did to Holyfield? That was easy work. I had fun. It was child's play.
But you said they didn't let you spar with him. Who didn't let you spar with him? He didn't want to, or Freddie Roach didn't want to?
No, Mike was never in camp while I was in camp.
Ah, okay. So there was never that intersection there. Okay, so now let's talk about your fights, man, because you took on Michael Nunn back in, I believe, 1991. and
Yeah.
I think it was Dan Goosen. No, was it Dan Goosen or Joe Goosen, the trainer? Which one is the trainer again?
No Goose was the trainer, Dan Goose was the promoter.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Joe said in an interview that Michael Nunn was the most talented guy he had ever come across, or one of the most talented. And so you took on him. The guy was what, 6 foot something or 5'11"? He looked like a giant compared to you. And in the early rounds, he was giving you trouble, man. He was circling around the ring. He was evading your power shots. What was the strategy? What was the strategy going into that fight and going into the later rounds?
No, he had me so mad on my game. I threw away my game plan. I was trying to knock him out one shot earlier in the fight. But then after, if you look at the fight again, in the 6th round, Bill Miller stepped in. He slapped me so hard. Yeah, get back in the game. We ain't coming for this. Go back to what we worked on. Our game plan was to work on our body shots. Go to the body, slow him down, and then catch him. And excuse me, after round 6, after I dig to his body, slowly, 11th round came. Guess what happened? Guess what happened?
What? You knocked him out, right?
No, he didn't pay his electric bill. His lights went out. Snore.
Right. By the way, hold on. Give me a Bucho. You're telling me you gave me some information right now. At what time?
Yep.
Bucho, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. At what time At what time does Mr. James Toney have to leave?
I don't know. He can tell us.
All right. Well,
I'm leaving. I'm gonna give you five more minutes.
Oh, 5 more minutes. Okay, so we gotta get to it. All right, man. We gotta get to your greatest hits. So you knock out Mike McCollum, and then you took on Iran Barkley, very tough guy. Knocked out Tommy Hearns, dropped and won a decision against him.
No, I didn't fight Tommy Hearns.
No, I said Iran Barkley. Iran Barkley.
Yeah, I got Iran Barkley.
Who knocked out Tommy Hearns. And when you fought Iran Barkley, that has to be one of the most beautiful performances of offense and defense put together. What would you consider that to be like that you were in the game, or which performance would you consider to be the best James Toney ever?
The best James Toney ever was from Holyfield, because I was at my right weight, where I should have been all the time. But Barkley fight was a great fight because he had been my idol, and I told him, I'm gonna do with you. I'm gonna do to you what you did at the time, but worse. And I got it.
Now, in that Holyfield fight, he cracked you, I think, in the 4th or 3rd round with a huge right hand, and you didn't even buckle. When did you know?
I told you. Well, I told you. I told you it was easy work.
Right now, but what my question is? My question is, when in your career or coming up in your career, did you know that you had a granite chin? Because you were defensively sound, so how did you know if you had a good chin or not?
I always knew I had a great chin because I don't depend on nobody but myself. It's me against the world while I'm in there. I feel like can't even stop me.
Right.
Can't even penetrate me. I'm the one. I'm in the ring with the guy. I'm the boss. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm a bully, the Broad Street bully, baby. I'm coming through you. Okay,
now James, people in the chat before you leave, they're asking me to ask you about the Vasily Girov fight, 2003 Cruiserweight Championship. Cruiserweight Championship.
Oh yeah, fun. Girov was a great fight. He came in cocky, strong, young guy. He had 32 knockouts, and I told him before the fight, I said, I'm gonna ruin your life. And what happened? I broke everything. I broke ribs. I broke his cheekbone, fractured his jaw. I did him ugly.
And you dropped him too. Now let me ask you this: did you ever feel his body shots during the fight?
No, you know what? Like I said, I trained so hard for that fight. Like if for Holyfield, I'm prepared because everybody who I spar with, and I train hard because I know he could never hurt me. Yeah, yes, he can punch. I'm gonna tell you, he can punch. But you know, it was nothing stop me from doing what I had to do.
Man, there's so many questions I gotta ask you, man. But one of my personals was, you're from the state of Michigan. Chris Bird is also from the state of Michigan. Did you guys ever come close to fighting for real in the ring, or?
Well, we supposed to fight one time, but he blew it. He fought the night I fought Dominic Wynn. He fought somebody on undercard. I forgot his name, but he didn't look good, and that blew the chances of us fighting.
Now, are you two still friends?
And I ain't like him. I didn't like him at all then. I ain't like nobody. When I'm fighting, I don't like nobody who's a heavyweight or middleweight. I ain't trying to be friends with nobody when I'm boxing.
Right. If they were in your weight division, yeah. you didn't like him. All right. So James, yeah, go ahead. All right. So James, I want to.
Go ahead. I get 5 more. Shoot, 5 more. Go ahead.
Was that?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me, James?
I give you 5 more minutes. Go ahead. MTV Raps. Go ahead, rap.
MTV Raps. All right. For James, first of all, thank you for being with us again. I'm looking at the comment section because I want to get some of the questions from the people in. Okay. Somebody is asking me to ask you about the Jewish star that you used to have on your trunks. I already know the answer to that one, but hey, can you give it to the people?
Oh, that was for Jackie.
Yeah, your ex-manager at the time, right?
Huh?
Your ex-manager. Now, okay, I gotta ask you, what happened in the second Samuel Peter fight? Because he seemed to be...
What happened?
Yeah, because he seemed to be lighter on his feet, and he tried to box you from the outside. Would you say that was the way to beat you, or the way to survive against you?
That was after that first fight. I beat you saw the first fight. I beat the brakes off him. I fractured his jaw. That second fight, he was trying his best to stay away from me. You know, but, don't forget, I'm the small guy now. I'm only 5'9". I'm a midget, and he's 6'4". He shouldn't be running for me, but he ran the whole 12 rounds. He didn't want the action. He did not want none of the action at all.
Hey, that first fight against Samuel Peter has to be one of the most entertaining heavyweight fights too. You stood in the pocket against him, and you made him retreat in the second fight. So I think
he paid the price. I broke him up.
That's right.
I rolled him.
That encapsulates the style of James Toney and what you represent in the ring. So James, I want to thank you again for having joined us. So what's next for you in your career? Last question. What are you doing up to right now?
Right now, James Toney Promotions, we up and coming.
Oh, right.
I'm an international fighter now. International promoter now. Coming out. Cigars. We have suits. My custom suit line coming up. We're working hard. You know, my whole team. John out the Pops, he's working hard. My fiance, Erica, my dude Gerard, she's doing everything with all the other endeavors we doing. So you know, we make things happen.
All right. So is there a website that we can put up for you to promote your clothing line or your promotional line?
Yes. Go to JamesToney.com.
JamesToney.com. All right, so we'll be putting that up in the description. James,
please do. To everybody, go check it out. Go buy the gear. We have the freshest, and we have the freshest gear that everybody can get. And also, I will be at the Hall of Fame. I see James Toney and see all the legends. We're having fun with party. We're knocking out the park.
Absolutely, James. a million thanks for being with us. You're a legend, and I just want to tell you it was an honor talking to you and a real pleasure, man. Thank you.
Hey, next time we do it, we're gonna do an hour. All right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man.
Celebrate time, all right?
All right, man. Thanks a lot, James. Take care.
Yes, sir.
See you, everybody. All right, so there you have it, the great James Toney. I want to thank. He said it was his fiancée Erica who contacted us, and I also want to thank Hamed, who somehow put this together as well. I don't know how he contacted them. I guess Hamed just talks to everybody via Facebook. So I'm sorry I couldn't get through to all the questions, but as you saw, our time was limited, and it took me by surprise. I mean, Hamed told us 5 minutes before we were going to do the podcast with James Toney. But again, a million thanks to James Toney for coming on. And if we can do it for an hour the next time, because I see you people have a million questions, I have a million questions, but I didn't know which one to get to first, because Bucho told me we only had about 5 minutes with him. So pretty good experience, man. You get to meet your heroes every once in a while when you do this.
Bucho, connection, man.
What's that?
We need to fix the connection.
Yeah,
maybe because over here in Canada it's snowing like crazy. I don't know if that affects the connection.
But it's interesting. Last Saturday the connection was fine, but on Wednesday when we did it last Wednesday, well, it was also breaking up. So, I don't know what's going on here. I'm not sure. But anyway, that was a great James Toney, and I asked for anybody that wasn't here at the beginning. I asked him about Roy Jones fighting tomorrow, and he said that he sympathizes with Roy Jones. But as you can see, he still has that animosity about what happened to in the Roy Jones fight. And I don't blame him, man. If they call you, like he said, 2 or 3 weeks before the fight, and they offer you $9 million, in other words, that's saying they're pressuring you to take the fight. And he had to lose 40 pounds total, he said. My goodness. I can't even lose 15 pounds in a month, man.
Yeah, crazy.
So, Bucho, what did you think about that? James Toney, he still has that that same James Toney spirit. Like, nobody can fuck with him, Like, he'll fight anybody.
Yeah, I think we need more guys like him.
Well,
I still remember that Europe fight.
Oh yeah.
Great fight. Imagine Toney in the World Boxing Super Series tournament.
Ooh.
That would have been great.
Listen, I don't want to disparage anybody in the in the cruiserweight tournament, but is there anybody that has the defense that he does in there? Maybe...
No. Right now, Usyk, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Usyk, but not nowhere near that type of rolling and fighting in the pocket the way he used to do it. And that's what I wanted to ask him more about how he developed that style. Who was his trainer? Was his trainer Don Turner? I forget who his trainer... I forget the name of his trainer, but there has to be... He was an old man, and so he must have had that lineage of being able to teach the basics of that shoulder roll type defense. And everybody loves that type of shoulder roll defense, and everybody wants to emulate it, but not everybody can do it, man, because first of all you have to be relaxed, and you have to practice it a lot, And again, I wanted to ask more questions from the audience, but... And by the way, guys, how's the connection right now? Are we breaking up, or... Go ahead and let us know.
All right, I hear you fine now. Before, while you were doing the interview, I could hear like sometimes you were breaking up, but now you're fine.
Yeah, that's great. When we need the best connection the most, that's when it decides to break up. No, I think it's the snow or something. But anyway, listen. He understood the questions at least. The question got through, and I was able to hear the answers. We were able to hear the answers, so that's all that matters. Even though, like you said, the line was. Sometimes the line would break up on his end, but overall it was a good tight conversation with one of the best who ever lays them up. People in the chat are saying, can Toney read this? No, I don't think he was reading the chat room. Doesn't he have one more fight left? Asks Mr. Coxey. That's a good question. Let me check.
I think he retired.
Toney? Yeah, I think so. That's what I had heard.
Yeah, no, he's not fighting anymore.
No, his last fight, it says, was May of last year. I think he had a knee... Listen, the last time I saw him fight was against Levdev, and he had some knee injuries. He has a knee problem in that one, so... those knees... Listen, the fighting spirit can still be there, but those knees do not fit. Even Roy Jones, the rumor is that he has knee problems. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say you're talking about knees. Just think about Sergio Martinez.
Oh, and that's the other thing. This is what I don't like about Miguel Cotto, man, and Freddie Roach for the most part, because I'm thinking he was the mastermind behind this. Like, they knew he had knee problems, and they didn't allow him to wear his knee braces in the fight. So, did they really beat the best Sergio Martinez out there, or did they beat a cripple, special needs, you know?
Yeah. No, I was.
You can't call him yourself, buddy boy.
No.
All right.
No.
All right. So, but yeah, that thing about Miguel Cotto against Martinez. I mean, at the time I was impressed with the win, but now when I look at it, I go, listen, you didn't allow him to wear his knee braces. Come on, that's not fair.
I don't think. You think that would have changed the thing?
You never know, man. You never know. I mean, he was able to tough it out against Martin Murray, who was a big guy, big middleweight.
But even then, he was on the ground and shit. So.
Yeah, you're right about that. And listen, he did get hit by left hooks from Miguel Cotto. I think it was a combination of things. What are people saying in the chat room? Yeah, there was a lot of questions for James Toney. People are saying, Cachelo says, Hamed, thank you, brother. Yeah, we gotta thank Hamed for setting this one up. Kiwi Box says, Loma has that defense. Yeah, Lomachenko has, but Lomachenko doesn't really stay in the pocket. He'll change angles. Hamed says we have a good connection. Kelly Goosecock. Kelly Goosecock. Shout out to Kelly, says I can hear everyone fine. Oh, very good. Boxing Fairy Tale. Shout out to Boxing Fairy Tale. I see we also have Reverse Lee in the chat. Shout out to Reverse. Shout out to Kiwi Box. Shout out to Cachnello. Shout out to Winter Design. Shout out to Precise Puncher. Luis Catorce. Shout out to him as well. All right. So yeah, I'll get to that in a minute. All right, Bucho, when I have the time. I wanted to ask you about. All right, you know what? Let me go and. We were talking about Jarrett Hurd before starting the podcast. He's going to be fighting Arislan De Lara. I forget exactly what the date is, but it's a good fight, man. It's a good fight. You have to be a little worried about Jarrett Hurd because in his last fight he really did take a lot of left hands from Austin Trout, and Arislan De Lara is essentially a higher caliber version of Austin Trout. Sharper punches, better foot movement, and really much more experienced. But he's getting up there in age, man. And Jarrett Hurd is a big dude, big dude. So we're gonna take a look at the. I just want to put. It's taking a long time. Let me tell you some disconnection, man. But it's a picture of the face-off that they did because they held a press conference, and they're obviously facing off. And you're about to see what I'm talking about here. Quite a sight to see. Is anybody in the the hangouts? It's still just you and me, Bucho. Now, Bucho, what would you have asked James Toney if you had the chance? Because I know you were dealing with the technical aspect of the chat, but what would you have liked to have asked him?
I would have asked Toney. I'm not sure. Maybe he regrets moving up to heavyweight. I mean, he could have stayed. But then again, the money was at heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
On fighting, so I mean, it makes sense, and he did pretty well for a small heavyweight, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did fight Ruiz, Holyfield, Rahman. So those were good paydays, I imagine.
Yeah, because
I mean, he would have been way better at like in cruiserweight.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What's his name? Roy Jones wasn't gonna fight him, or he didn't seem to. Roy Jones still seemed to be gunning for that Mike Tyson fight back in 2003. James Toney, what was he gonna do? Take on Jirov again, or Roy Jones didn't want to fight.
Yeah, no, that wasn't gonna happen.
The Hopkins fight fell through, so I guess he just decided. Toney decided, listen, I'll just go up to heavyweight. But he even admitted, it was interesting. He said his best weight was that 215, 220 pound range when he fought Evander Holyfield. And also the fight afterwards, I forget the guy's name, but it was on Fox Sports when he fought him, and he tore I think, the muscle from the right arm or the right bicep, and he only fought with one hand. And even then, he was kicking the guy's ass. I forget his name. He was an undefeated guy. So that was peak prime 220-pound Toney. That was his optimum weight. And, you know, it's interesting what could have been if he would have stayed at that weight. All right. So I was talking about Lara versus Hurd, Jarrett Hurd, which is going to be taking place at the StubHub Center. Apparently, the fight is going to be taking place on April the 7th, all right? So I'm at ringmagazine.com, ringtv.com, and this is the image I see. Hopefully, you guys can see it on the screen there. See that? Right there. Now, is Jarrett Hurd wearing platform shoes? Is it the haircut that's making him look bigger? Is it the angle? Is Erislandy Lara a little more towards the background? I don't know. But look, you guys are looking at the photograph here. Jarrett Hurd looks like he's in a completely different weight class. A higher weight class, I should say, not a completely different. Obviously, it's a different weight class, but he just looks bigger. Look at the size of his head too. Take away the mohawk. Like, go ahead, put your fingers over the mohawk. That's still a big ass head. Now, is Jarrett Hurd a good fighter? Yes. He's a strong fighter. He walks through shots. He can roll with some of the punches. But, I mean, I don't know, man. He looked huge against Trout. He looked huge against, who was it? Willie Nelson? Or, no, yeah, it was Willie Nelson, I think. This guy looks huge. You look at his calves. He looks like he's in another weight division, man. At least 2 divisions bigger. Now, Erislandy Lara, never been a true fan of his style. Too much moving for my taste, not enough punching, and too much talking outside of the ring to really back up what he does in the ring. Or it should be the other way around, I should say. Not enough fighting inside the ring to back up his words. That being said, as a fan, who am I rooting for in this fight? I gotta root for Erislandy Lara, man. Right now, that's the guy I'm rooting for. Because, I mean, listen, Bucho, would it be that controversial to say that Jarrett Hurd right now is being a weight bully?
No, he's not a weight bully, but I mean, I don't think, because when you say weight bully, it kind of like implies that the fighter is not as good as, he's not really that good. He's only winning because he's a weight bully. I mean, Hurd, let's not take any credit away from Hurd.
Mm-hmm.
He's very aggressive, he's strong. That's all positive. But let's be honest, he's also very big, so that plays into it.
Mm-hmm.
Would he fight the same way? Would he be as effective at 160 as he's in 154? We don't know yet. But the reality is that he's kind of a weight bully because he's that big.
So sorry, you kind of confused me there. So is he a weight bully or because you just said he's got a decent size advantage. Bucho?
Ahmed, are you there?
Alright.
How's it going, guys? Good interview.
Thanks, man. Thanks. First of all, how did you come into contact with James Toney? What are you doing?
I think I messaged him earlier on. I seen you guys had a show lined up, so I thought I messaged him because his DMs on Twitter are open.
Mm-hmm.
And he replied, he said, I thought it wasn't him. I thought it could be his publicist, or I think that was his wife, he said.
Fiancé, yeah.
So I thought it was probably someone else, but he said it was him. And he said, he replied and he was communicating. So I thought, I'll ask you, and you said you'll try and sort something out. So it took a bit of a while, but he said, yeah, he's working. And I think first he said he couldn't do it now, but I told him you could come back later. But then he said he had about, I think, hour or something. But he said he kind of wanted to do it next week. But I told him it's simple to do it, and he quickly jumped on. But it's good that we got it done in that time, because I was kind of thinking the time might pass and they'll probably have to wait another day, but that was good work. You guys got it done in that time.
Well, thank you for setting us up with him. And I mean, yeah, it was kind of last minute. I didn't know how much time we had until Bucho started telling me in the chat. He's like, no, we only have him for like about 5 minutes. So I said, oh shit, I thought I didn't know how long it was gonna go on for, but yeah.
It turned into about around 45 or 50 minutes, so that was, I think, okay. You covered, I think, the main things you wanted to ask him.
Yeah. I mean, hey, listen, we could go more in depth though about his fights against Montel Griffin and the Roy Jones Jr. fight and his move to cruiserweight. I mean, that's a whole hour right there alone.
Yeah, I was thinking. I started writing my first piece the other day on Gassiev and Dorticos, and I've had a couple of offers. I did publish it on your website. I sent it to, I think, Bucho, and then I think you said you edited it and you cut out the. I think there's probably a couple of typos and spelling mistakes, but I got it posted on another website, which is
cool.
kind of more top class boxing, which is a bigger website, I think, than. There's a couple I tried sending, but I got an offer from a really good website. I'm gonna have to look into. They're asking me if you want to start interviewing fighters and you can start writing for us, but I think they were saying you got to try and go in a professional manner. But I think if I could get into that, I'll try and work on it, because the article I did was off my phone, and that's why there's a couple of mistakes in there. I done it redrafted about a couple of times, but if I could definitely interview a couple more fighters, I'll try and get a couple more on the show, and I think that'd be great if you guys could interview them.
Yeah, that's the thing though. You live in the city that you live. Are there a lot of gyms that you could access in order to interview upcoming professional fighters and all that type of stuff? Or?
Not many gyms, and there's not many fighters that are well known. So maybe 10 years ago, because there's Calzaghe around and Gavin Reese was a champion that time. There was Gary Lockett. There was a very good stable in the Wales gym, and where I'm from is Cardiff. But there's a very good gym outside Cardiff, I think in Newbridge. But they used to train in and out of Cardiff. At the moment, there's not many fighters in Cardiff. I think Macronelli was there as well, Enzo Macronelli. So there's about 4 or 5 fighters. I'd say that was about 10 or 11 years ago. That was a while back. But right now, in Welsh boxing, I think is only Lee Selby, but he lives a bit further down in Barry. If I would be able to contact him, I would ask him, but I'm not too sure if I'd see him. Like, it's very hard to see, because there's only 1 or 2 fighters from here that I know. The rest are all in England and London, and London is quite further down.
Well, now let me ask you this, and you wrote that story about Gassiev and Dorticos. I was surprised when I was reading your article that you had Dorticos up after the first 4 rounds.
Yeah, a lot of people had him. You didn't think he was ahead?
Well, see, that's the thing. I haven't read other people's comments yet, other than when we discussed the fight right after when we did the podcast. But yeah, I had going into the 5th round, I had Gassiev winning 3 rounds to 1.
Whew, that's quite wild. I think Dorticos won the first round. I thought Dorticos won out of the first 3. I thought he won at least 2 of them. I thought after 4 rounds it was 3-1. You could argue 2-2, but I don't think. I think after 6 rounds I had it 3-3. I checked, some people had it 4-2 Gassiev. I thought it was about even after 6 rounds. I had it even after 8 rounds. After 10 rounds I had it even, but I think I gave 1 round to Dorticos, which was probably off. So I think Gassiev won about, after 10 rounds, about 6 rounds, and I think Dorticos won about 4 rounds. I gave him 5 before he got knocked out in the 12th. I think he probably won about 4 rounds, which is, I think, about fair, because I mean, people are saying he was hitting gloves, but in those first 4 or 5 rounds, until the 5th round when he hurt, I think, Dorticos. I haven't rewatched the fight, but if I remember off my memory, in the first 4 rounds, Gassiev was only landing about 1 or 2 shots. I don't think 1 or 2 shots is enough to win round. But like I wrote in my article, he came on strong. I think it was his game plan, which was a very good game plan, to let Dorticos punch himself out.
Now that's the thing, Bucho. How did you have the fight going into the 5th round?
Well, that was my original scorecard, right? Because I always have to change it. But it was like I had like 2. I gave 2 rounds to. I think by the round 5, I gave 2 rounds to Dorticos. In my opinion, Gassiev was moving a bit, not a bit too much. He was moving just enough, but it could be enough to give those rounds to. What my take is from the own boxers that move, right?
I thought Dorticos was throwing too much. Even if he was missing about 10 of those shots, the volume was so much that I think you have to score the shots, even if they're landing on the arms. But I thought from round 6 or 7, I think I wrote also in my column that you could tell the tide had changed and Gassiev was coming on strong. I thought it was a great fight. I need to rewatch it. I was planning on rewatching it. I DVR'd it, and I thought the 12th round was one of the best rounds. Like, I didn't mind if Dorticos won, because to a point of view, I like both guys. I thought if Dorticos won, I think we might have got a better final than the one we're getting. I think Usyk might beat Gassiev. There's stuff I've seen that I think Dorticos kind of exploited in Gassiev's game that I think if Usyk is at his best, he would exploit it. I think if Dorticos fought Usyk, I think they think that Dorticos could do that. I would probably give him a better chance than Gassiev.
Well, that's the thing, because I've been saying this for the past 2 weeks, especially after the Brady's Usyk fight. In my mind, I've always thought Usyk has been a little overrated. I think he's been a little overrated by boxing fans. I think people thought that he was just going to walk through everybody in the cruiserweight division. He had a tough fight against Brady's, and meanwhile Gassiev looked very good against Dorticos. I mean, do you see this fight being much closer now than before, or do you still see it the same for Usyk?
It depends. If Usyk fights like he fought Brady's, I'll say one thing though. Brady's fought a completely different fight, and is a completely different fighter to Gassiev. Gassiev doesn't throw that many shots. Brady's kind of emptied his tank for about the first 8 rounds, and I think I seen on my Twitter timeline that when the fight was going on, Victor was saying, I think he tweeted, can Brady's do this? He's gonna get gassed like for 12 rounds. But I thought Brady's handled himself well. I thought Brady's was kind of gassed in the late rounds. I don't think Gassiev could throw that many shots. He's too heavy-handed. He's a guy who likes to sit on his shots, and I mean, there's been a lot of comparison with him and Golovkin. I don't think he's nothing like Golovkin. I think Golovkin throws much more shots. Golovkin's stamina is much better. He's a guy that throws a lot more, who comes forward. I think Gassiev does take rounds and minutes of rounds off. On the other hand, I think Gassiev is so heavy-handed that I think he could get away with it. Surprised how many big shots Dorticos took. I think Usyk will have to be at his best as well. Both of these guys will have to be at his best, but my thought from both those fights are the best Usyk beats the best Gassiev, but you never know. If Gassiev catches him, could be over.
Well, that's the thing, because Brady's, like I said before, he was really getting through Usyk's guard. Now, I know Precise Puncher and me, we talked about that, and he said that he didn't see a lot of... I mean, he saw Usyk blocking a lot of Brady's shots. The thing is this, if he takes on Gassiev, and he stands in front of Gassiev with that high guard, I don't know if he can block all those shots, man, from Gassiev.
I'll say one thing. Gassiev showed a lot of... Even though it was a great fight, Gassiev showed a lot of ways he could be beat. The things that Dorticos was doing after the 5th round, he made a lot of fundamental mistakes. He didn't go to the body, which he should have. Dorticos neglected the body after the 5th, or not 5th, I think the 6th or 7th round. After about 8 rounds, I think he was just throwing 1-2, and they were hitting gloves, and they had no effect. He was still heavy-handed, but you could tell he was just become a bit 1 or 2 dimensional. I don't want to say 1 dimension, because he was throwing his left and right. They were partially landing, but the uppercut was there. And what's Usyk's best shot, I think, is the uppercut. And Gassiev's guard, and the way when he goes into that shell like a turtle, is open for the uppercut. And one thing Usyk knows how to do is maneuver his opponents and throw the uppercut. So I think, and you got to go to the body, and I think Usyk mixes it up. The thing I'll say though, Gassiev, on the other hand, Dorticos didn't do that, but Gassiev was someone who was going to the body. He was throwing his variety of shots. He was going up, down, throwing his hooks, his uppercut. So It depends who could take it, but I think if Usyk fights a smart fighter, I think he'd probably be favourite.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. Because I don't know, were you, first of all, it's a two-part question. Were you surprised by Dorticos' chin?
Very surprised. I actually kind of wanted him to win when I seen him take that many good shots. I thought this guy could probably compete at heavyweight. Some of those shots he was taking, I was thinking. I mean, Gassiev's a really heavy-handed guy. He put guys out like Vladajic and Shimal with one shots. And I've never seen Gassiev get backed up from the first 3-4 rounds. If I was a Gassiev fan, I'd be worried. I was thinking the crowd looked a bit worried because Dorticos was forcing him back, pushed him. One thing I gotta say, it was a great fight. One of the best fights I've seen in a very long time. I was amazed how good of a fight it was. It's a shame it wasn't on HBO or Showtime.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I mean, I don't know why they haven't picked that fight up. But the reason why I asked you about Dorticos' chin was because was this a case then of him having that great a chin, or is Gassiev's power good, but not quite on that Golovkin level where if he touches you on the temple, you're going down?
Gassiev could punch. I heard Dorticos took some big shots from.
By the way, Hamed, are you eating while you're talking, man?
Yeah, I got Skittles. Sorry about that.
Oh, you and your Skittles, man. I mean, I gotta tell you, I think I asked you before. Are those sour Skittles or they're the regular Skittles?
Oh, the red ones. No, not sour. No, but what I was gonna say was, Dorticos took some big shots from Kalenga as well. I've never seen that fight, and when you asked me for a prediction, I couldn't make a prediction because I didn't have time to watch the Lebedev fight with Gassiev, and I didn't get to watch the fight with Dorticos and Kalenga.
Excuses?
What's that?
Are you giving us excuses, Hamad?
No.
He's fucking with you, Hamed.
No, I thought it was a 50-50 fight, but I said I'd lean toward Gassiev. After the first or second round, I thought Dorticos might win. I still thought Gassiev might come on strong. One thing I thought that Dorticos, I mean, people are doubting his chin, but I know Kudryashov is not that good and his fundamentals are way off, and he kind of got exposed by Dorticos, but Dorticos stood in the middle with Kudryashov, who one thing could do is he's got some heavy hands, and I remember a couple of people made videos, I think it was Hatman or so, who said for a guy to stand in the middle with someone with that much power and have the confidence of not getting worried about getting hit back, shows how heavy-handed he is. I think Dorticos has got a very good chin.
Oh yeah.
Knocked out in the 12th round because he just got overwhelmed and he took too much shots and he was too brave for his own good. But at the same time, he's very heavy-handed as well.
Yeah, that's one thing you can say about Kudryashov as well, that he had that power. And then Dorticos, man, let me tell you, Dorticos is going to be hard for anybody in the cruiserweight division. Now, Bucho.
Yeah, I just have something to say. Like, was there a point during the fight that you guys realized that Gassiev wasn't gonna get hurt by anything Dorticos threw?
No. I thought he was getting marked up. I thought his defense was good. I wouldn't say chin. I don't think he took anywhere near the shots that Dorticos took. A flush on the chin. He had a really good guard. If you watch the fight back in the third or second round, you could see he was getting marked up a bit, but since his hands were so up, that's why Dorticos should have went to the body to make him drop his guard. But I think he did take about a couple of shots. Maybe he took more than I'm giving him credit for, but I don't think he took nowhere near as much as Dorticos took from Gassiev.
Yeah, that's a good point. Now, when I saw that fight, I wasn't so much worried about Gassiev's chin, especially after the fifth round when I saw that he had that chin tucked in and hidden away behind that turtle shell defense, as you mentioned it in your article. I mean, what I was worried about more than anything for Gassiev was his stamina, but he did a good job of pacing himself in that fight. I mean, I thought he was gonna. What's that?
I was just gonna ask what Bucho thought about it.
Yeah, I think
Who was
he's.
facing himself? Gassiev? BDA.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your question?
No, I didn't have a question. I was just asking. I was just saying that I was more worried about Gassiev's stamina than I was his actual chin. And for Dorticos,
He was being a bit conservative for that. But he was being a bit conservative for the first few rounds.
Yeah, he
And
was.
I think he was trying to test, try to see what Dorticos was going to be bringing, and maybe try to taste a little bit of that power, see how much he had. And I think at some point, he knew he could take that power. I mean, yes, I agree with Hamed. Like Gassiev never got hit flush, but he did get hit.
Yeah.
Somewhat between the gloves. So I mean, you can gauge how much power somebody else has. You don't have to take a punch in the chin directly.
That's
to have an idea of what you're going through. Yeah.
So, some of those shots were going through the gloves. That's how hard and heavy-handed Dorticos is. I don't think Gassiev was ever going to get tired because I thought he kind of took off the first 3 rounds. I thought he only started working in the 4th and 5th round. That's when I thought he kind of upped his work rate. I thought in the first 2 or 3 rounds, I couldn't give him more than 1 round. I really thought he shouldn't have even won one of the first 3 rounds. Because I thought it was a close round. I can't remember. I think it was the 2nd round. But I think Dorticos showed a lot. I think he showed he's a lot better than people are giving him credit for before the fight.
Yeah, I think he beats. Was that?
Sorry, but in the chat, Rod T. Davis is saying, "Step away from the skills, baby."
Oh yeah, shout out to Rod T. Davis who's in the house. Yeah, the thing about Dorticos is, if you match him up against Brady's, I think he beats Brady's. I'm not so sure if he's able to beat a guy like... No, actually, yeah. Like, for example, Marco Huck and Wooly Darsk or Wooly... I forget his name. I think he beats those guys. But, you know, for a guy like Mike Perez, a fellow Cuban, by the way, I think that would be an interesting fight because it's a southpaw, it's a defensively sound guy who doesn't make it easy for anyone. Former heavyweight also, by the way. Yeah.
Can I ask, what did you think of the stoppage? I thought the 12th round is great. I know some people have been complaining, but I mean, people are complaining about the Joshua Klitschko stoppage, but I thought that was a good stoppage. I think Klitschko could have got seriously hurt because those you got to look at it. 250, 60 pounders, like, and Klitschko had been down twice. He was down on the cards. I mean, you know, people could argue he's a puncher. You should let it go on, but. Klitschko wasn't throwing back and he was on the ropes, and I thought that was a good stop. I think this, on the other hand, was 50-50. I thought it was good he let it go on because I think even though Dorticos was down heavy twice, he was still throwing some big shots, and the things that were on the line. Then, I mean, I think they're kind of both regularly untested at that level. Like we've never seen them fight like another champion on that level, and so. I think it was good. The referee did a good job. I think maybe for some people I could understand he might have let it go on a bit too long, but it's good we got a conclusive finish. I'm a guy who likes the brutal stoppages, and I think that was good. I don't think he'll be the same though, so it could have affected Dorticos' health in a way.
Well, Kiwi Box in the chat room, he's saying, well, when the ref stopped it, Klitschko wasn't getting hit. The difference...
Yeah, but he was 1 shot away from getting seriously hit.
I think
he was backed up. He wasn't throwing back.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I was gonna say is, I know I've heard that as well, but Joshua threw about 17 shots. I know none of them landed, but Klitschko was not reacting. And if you can't defend yourselves, and if you can't throw any shots back, I know he's in survival mode. People will say, and why would you throw? But showing the referee something, and you've been down heavily twice. The uppercut was big. I think he should have took a knee. I think the referee has to stop him. Maybe it was about 2 or 3 seconds premature, but I mean, he was gone. I don't think he was gonna win that fight, and I don't think he was gonna stay on his feet for much longer. He was virtually gone, and Joshua looked like he could throw about another 20-30 shots, and Klitschko looked like he was gone, and he was 41, and I think he could have got seriously hurt. So I thought that was a good stoppage.
But going back to the Dorticos fight, he'd been dropped 3 times, and he was wobbly as hell. When you're wobbly like that, it's a matter of time before a guy like Gassiev gets a free shot on you and just lays you out cold. And let me tell you something. I mean, we like to pretend as boxing fans sometimes that a KO is a harmless thing. Oh, you don't feel pain when you're out. But let me tell you, the way you hit the canvas or the way you go down, it can seriously impact the rest of your career. It might leave you with a concussion that you never get over. So I think it was a good stoppage. He'd been down 3 times.
Can I say something? What was the difference between the Matisse and Peterson stoppage and the Klitschko-Joshua stoppage?
Well, the Joshua Klitschko stoppage, it was more... Klitschko was just dead. He seemed like he was dead tired. He wasn't fighting back. Peterson, he went down in brutal fashion the second time. And then the third time, he just sort of collapsed. So I guess the ref said... He looked at how Peterson had gotten up from the second knockdown.
Joshua didn't punch himself out. That comment, I completely disagree.
No. I said Klitschko wasn't punching back.
I see in the comment.
Oh.
Yeah, so how could Joshua punch himself out if he's punching? And
well, let's ask Precise, who made that comment in the chat room and who's seen the hangout now. Precise, how are you, man? Precise? Calling.
Hello?
Yeah, how are you, man? Oh, he muted his mic. I guess he's gotta drive the chickens away, maybe. Yeah, Precise.
Now?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, how are you, man?
Hello, everybody.
Yes, good to have you here as always, man. Thank you for being here. All right, so we're talking about the stoppage, and you said that Joshua pumped himself out and he had no power. So you don't think it was a good stoppage?
If that was a good stoppage, then if that fight were in Germany, it would have gotten stopped in the 6th round in favor of Klitschko. Okay, that was one of the worst stoppages I have ever seen, because Joshua had punched himself out in the 6th round, and then for 3 or 4 rounds he was useless, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he recovered and he got to Klitschko and he put him down legitimately for the first time in the fight. And he was. If you're telling me he wasn't about to punch himself out again, then you got to tell me what kind of roids this man is on, because I have never seen a big guy punch himself out midway through, be gassed for 3-4 rounds, do nothing, and then come back and then not punch himself out after that barrage. And Klitschko was on the ropes. He was flipping the punches. He got touched with the jab. That was it. He wasn't in any danger. Joshua stopped in and should have jumped in and stopped Joshua from hitting him behind the head. If you want to talk about fighter safety, he should have jumped in there and stopped him from landing on those rabbit punches on Klitschko, which are illegal last time I checked. It was a terrible, terrible, terrible stoppage. Joshua was down on the card, should have been down on the cards. Officially, obviously, the fight's in the UK, so he's going to get every...
Hamed, you got a riposte for that comment?
Klitschko had come back, and I think Klitschko deserved the chance to come back again, just like he did in that 6th round, I believe it was. So it was a shitty stoppage. They were protecting Anthony Joshua just like they protect them in every fight, and that wasn't the first time that we got in a Joshua fight. You look at a bunch of his fights, and you know, these knockouts aren't really so. But that's just my take on it, and you know, no use crying over spilled milk. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask a question? I don't think when the fights got stopped, I was actually arguing it should have not got stopped. But when I rewatched it, I thought, I wouldn't say it was the best stoppage. I'm not saying it was a stoppage that definitely should have got stopped. You could argue it could have went on, but I thought there's more to argue it should have got stopped. That was my opinion. I think maybe 4 or 5 seconds it was premature. I've seen it again without the commentary. I've seen Klitschko. He was getting affected, even if those shots are not going. There's a difference between rolling or he's hurt. You could just look at his body language and his face. He was down twice. I'd say one thing. So would you rather have stopped the fight in the 6th round than the 11th round?
No, that would have been a horrible stoppage too. But I'm just saying, if the fight were in Germany and Klitschko had the home court protection like Joshua,
but that referee was American. That referee wasn't even British. So how?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the referee is. What matters is who's promoting and who's paying his bills. And yeah,
I could agree. I could agree to that in a sense that I think that sixth round, I think Joshua was also away for one shot from getting hurt. But the difference in that round was Joshua was moving around. Sorry, Joshua was moving around, and Joshua had dropped Klitschko. I know you obviously you can't say stuff like that because you could get knocked out and you could get stopped
Yeah, but how
on
many?
your feet. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, on your feet. Yeah. So
I know boxing is different these days. I get it, but like if that was a legit stoppage, then how many times did George Foreman knock out um, Muhammad Ali? You know what I mean? When he had him on the ropes and he was not landing all those punches except for all the body shots,
but
and a lot of people
does it
say,
not matter if someone was heavily down in the same round twice? And
Yeah, I was
no,
gonna say that though.
doesn't that matter? Like some people have argued, and I kind of get the sense that Pacquiao Marquez one could have been stopped because he got dropped 3 times. Like very rarely does the referee let some. I know it's no rule, official rule, but like very rarely will a referee let someone go on when they're down 3 times. But
but
obviously that don't make a difference. But I was just saying, like, if Klitschko is about to get knocked down again, I don't think many people. I know he didn't, and it's hypothetical, but he was hurt, and I don't think. I think the percentage was more likely he was about to get knocked out than he was
no,
gonna
I
survive.
see. But that's a Joshua fan perspective, and that's fine. And I could
I'm
come
not a
right back
Joshua
at you and
fan.
say,
And
well, whatever. But I could come
the
back at you
left
and
hook,
say,
the uppercut, I thought completely changed that fight in that round. Like, I agree. I thought Klitschko was ahead. I don't think. I think you probably had it wide. If you're saying he should have been ahead even after the knockdowns, then I think that's a bit too much. I had it
it
about
was a
six
close
four
fight.
Klitschko.
It was a close fight, but I thought Klitschko should have been ahead. I wasn't scoring that round where he got knocked down. Had
All
that
right.
round completed, yeah, I would have had him down had that round been completed. But look, the fact of the matter is that Anthony Joshua knocked him down with the rabbit punch. In the first knockdown, he hit him behind the head. It wasn't his fault, but he did land behind the head and knocked him down. And then he showed in the entire fight that that was part of his strategy to hit him behind the head and then catch him with the uppercut. So once he got him on the ropes and he landed two, not one, but two rabbit punches, the referee should have separated them and warned Joshua for rabbit punching, right? But he
So
didn't do that because he was there to protect Anthony Joshua and to give him that win by any means necessary. And let's not act like UK isn't notorious for quick stoppages, and especially Joshua fights. Like it's
you gotta thank there wasn't a British referee because that fight would have been stopped when Klitschko got dropped in the sixth round.
but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who the referee is. It really doesn't matter who the referee is
No,
because
have you seen the stoppage of the Callis Takam Joshua fight?
Yeah, that was shit, no.
but
What,
look, in
what I'm trying to say,
Takam lost.
Klitschko. No, but Klitschko would not even been given a chance. I'm saying Joshua drops him,
Look,
and that's it. He would
Klitschko
have
is
got.
a legend. Klitschko is a legend who showed you that he could come back from a hard knockdown.
Well, I never
And
said he
Joshua
wasn't.
showed you in that fight that he could punch himself out, and we know his stamina is shit. Those are facts. Right punches were there,
I'm not even that big of a Joshua fan, but I'm talking about
but no, no,
that
I'm not.
fight.
No, I don't.
No, no.
Besides the point, the facts are facts, and the fact is that Joshua hit him behind the head twice, and that should have gotten warned for that. Klitschko would have gotten a chance to recover, and we would have seen what would have
So
happened.
yeah, so that's fair. Okay, that's fair. What about the stoppage then? Why wasn't Klitschko complaining when he got stopped? Joshua was staring at him. Look, I
But
made
that's
the comparison now. One
but that's
second. I made.
irrelevant.
Let me
Whether he
finish. Let me finish what I was gonna say. When Peterson got knocked out by Matisse, you could argue that was an awful stoppage. I remember a lot of people are saying that was a bad stop, including myself. Peterson wanted to continue on. The referee waved it off and he's on the floor, and he got back up and he was continuing. Now I'm saying if you're gonna say Joshua Klitschko is a bad stoppage, I could argue that Peterson Matisse is a bad stoppage because I think Matisse had dropped Peterson twice, exactly the same thing, and that was only the fourth round. In the same round, and the referee waved it off.
okay, well you could argue that. That's fine. But as far as the
But I don't
Klitschko
think
fight
many.
goes,
Yeah, I don't think many believe that. Though that's what I was gonna say.
well, I don't exactly remember how that. At the time I didn't have a problem with it. You know, I don't know. But anyway, complain and what would have done. Look, And again, I'm gonna say something, and someone's gonna get butthurt and upset. But like, look, Eastern European fighters, they don't complain. Okay, they take. Have you seen Golovkin complain after he got robbed? Did you see Lomachenko complain after he got robbed in the? They just don't complain because it's
Kovalev.
bitch
Was
made to complain, and it
Rob, the
doesn't
decision
change. Hold on, let me finish.
decision
And it doesn't. Hold on, 1 second. And it wouldn't have changed anything. So what's the point in complaining? And besides, it's irrelevant. It's completely irrelevant. You're asking my opinion, not Klitschko's opinion. So it is what it is, man. I don't know why he didn't complain, because it's not because Klitschko doesn't complain, because most Eastern European fighters, they don't complain. They just don't.
No, he did. He did say on the HBO interview with Max Kellerman he could have continued on, and I think he said he might have wanted to. He didn't
And
mind.
I
So
agree with him. I think he could have continued, but once the fight is stopped, him complaining is not going to change anything. So what's the point?
no,
Right?
what I meant was the body language normally when it's at the heat of the moment, your natural instincts and reaction for most fighters are when is a bad stoppage. Or the way you're saying is like a really bad stoppage. You think is the way you
But you're
described
used
it as
to you're used to watching very emotional fighters. Some fighters aren't
what?
very emotional. And Klitschko, look, Klitschko is very like cold-blooded to a fault even. He's so dry and calm, like he never gets rattled, or even if he does, he doesn't show it. That's just who he is. He's like he's ice
So
cold.
why was Kovalev complaining then? You said Eastern Europeans. Kovalev is Eastern European.
Well, there's an exception to every rule. Once I saw Kovalyov wearing that women's purse in that one interview one of these days, he's been um, corrupted by the West, and he's no longer. But another thing about Kovalyov is he was raised without a father. That's another thing. You know what I mean? Like, why was he like that? I don't know. Um, Kovalyov is, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like some of the things that he's done, it was really atypical. Like the trash talking that he's done. He's an anomaly. You know what I mean? You get those guys, but he's the exception to the rule, basically.
Are you
Show
saying
me two,
Kovalev has
three,
been
four fighters.
corrupted? Sorry. Are you saying Kovalev has been corrupted by American culture?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, but let me
And
jump
it
in
could be
here.
because his father wasn't around. You know what I mean? So he could be that too.
But we gotta define this, because I mean a lot of people are gonna be asking, what do you mean by American culture? Hello?
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. I didn't
What's
hear
the
what you
question?
said.
Yeah, okay, sorry. The question was, I guess, am I dropping out of the... Anyway,
Yeah.
I think so.
okay, my question is, what is American culture?
Well, I mean, as far as fighters go, trash talk is very prevalent. Um, getting excited and throwing punches in the face of. Not everybody does that, but mental, the psychological games are very important in American boxing, for example. And you could say that about um, England too, the UK. I don't know. It seems a little bit contrived with Eddie Hearn. It seems a little bit set up, but it's there. You don't generally. It's not considered very sportsmanlike, and it's seen as a sign of weakness. But you know, since the Berlin Wall fell, like
What
Western
is
culture
the?
has invaded the. It's changing. It's for them changing.
Can I say so? Why do you always talk about Eastern Europeans? What was the question? I didn't get what you were saying.
What do you mean? What question?
No, because BDA asked about American culture, and I guess he's asking about how does American culture translate into boxing. Like these boxers that are obviously from the United States, they have a different behavior
I mean,
than
even if
other
you
boxers.
style, like, I'm not saying that there aren't very technical American fighters, but they're more athletic. Their style is more athletic than it is technical. And obviously there are exceptions, and there are some very good technical American fighters, but by and large, they're first and foremost, I'm stereotyping, athletes, And when you look at they're first and foremost very technical. They're very much about the sweet science, and that's also because of the disposition, you know, or maybe it comes from their technical background. I don't know. It's a chicken and egg question, but don't you guys see these differences?
Yeah.
Am I the only one who sees these differences?
Well,
Can I make a point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Once
Okay,
the
go ahead,
backtrack.
go ahead.
You know that you were saying there's a lot of corruption, but there's corruption everywhere. I agree. I don't know what British boxing, and I'm from Britain. Like the majority of these cards, I don't really watch it because I've seen for years awful stoppages. I mean, some of these stoppages you'll see. I think type it in Tyson Fury and Nikolai Further. That stoppage was horrible. But same with the judges. The judging here, Eddie Hearn, I think pays off a lot of these judges. Some of these decisions have been awful. But I mean, you see that in Eastern European countries like Germany as well. For years, they've been robbing fighters. I mean, you see in America, you see it everywhere. So the standard in Britain, like I know, even myself, I think it's probably in the Britain. It's got to a point where it's probably the worst. Like because it's got so many fighters now and champions here, and some of the decisions here have been probably the worst. Like I can't really recall all of them, but it's been happening everywhere, and I think it's not just in Britain; it's in other countries in Europe as well.
Well, I wasn't talking about corruption in boxing, but to address your point very quickly, Germany is not Eastern Europe, at least not anymore. Never really was. And the whole robberies in Germany, yes, they've happened. And like I thought, Lebediev beat Marco Huck, and
Russia,
also
yeah,
Ola
Russia.
Afolabi in the first fight. I thought he beat Marco Huck, but that's also blown way out of proportion because the robberies in Germany have not been anything like what's been happening in US. Not even close, man. They have happened. I'm not denying that, but it's not even comparable. I mean, you will have fights in US where there'll be two different cards, you know what I mean, Showtime, HBO, and there'll be like 3 robberies on both cards. Like every big weekend, there's at least one, but sometimes 2 or 3. You know, like Maurice Hooker versus which was on the card of Cavalier Ward, right?
But then you could, that was about this. But then you could argue that America is a much bigger country it's bigger than the whole of Europe combined. It's like about just a bit smaller than Russia, probably way smaller than Russia, but it's way bigger than the rest of Europe. So I mean, it's probably.
I'm not looking at it like that. I'm just looking at number of fights, and if like just about every big weekend of boxing, there's a robbery in US, and not so much like Tyson Fury, great example, went to Germany, beat Klitschko, got the decision. If they were gonna rob somebody in Germany, they very well could have given Jack Calcade the win over Demetrius Andrade, but they didn't. But it wouldn't have even been a robbery, to be honest with you. And here's the deal: WBO, WBC, they're all Western based, or one is Mexico, right? But like they're from New Jersey, they're from the East Coast. They're
Venezuela.
Judges, they bring in the judges, and judges in Europe are for the most part, then in US they're neutral.
So I was gonna say, if you think Kalki and Andrade was not a robbery if Kalki won, then do you believe Golovkin Canelo was a robbery, as in the decision, or as in that one pathetic scorecard, the 118-110?
Well, let me clarify. Calcade, I thought Andrade won, but robbery if they gave it to Calcade, right? If they were bent on robbing fighters, that wouldn't have even been a robbery, and they could have very well given it to Calcade, and it would have been controversial, but you couldn't really say it was a robbery, right? But as far as Golovkin Canelo, yeah, that was a robbery.
The decision was, I thought Kalki won 5 rounds. I had about 7-5 for Andrade. Maybe 8-4. I think
close.
It was close.
I
think you could argue a draw, but I thought Golovkin Canelo was close as well. So, I mean, I don't see the what's the word?
The relevance.
I've lost the word.
The relevance, the connection.
Consistency. I don't see the consistency. I thought both fights were close, and there's things
I don't think. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
I think you could argue Canelo won 4 or 5 rounds. I mean, if it's a robbery, then you're talking about you had Golovkin winning 10, 11 rounds. I've seen some Golovkin fanboys saying he won 10-2, 11-1. Some had it 12-0.
No, that's not a robbery. I mean, a robbery is if one guy clearly wins 7 rounds and he doesn't get the fight, if he clearly takes 7 rounds where you can't make a case for the other guy in any of those 7 rounds, and that's a robbery. If he doesn't get the decision, that's a robbery. It doesn't have to be outrageous. If a guy clearly wins but doesn't get the decision, of course that's a robbery. Now, if you have if you have a lot of swing rounds, that gets a little bit more complicated. But if you can make a case for Golovkin, go ahead.
Yeah, Golovkin Canelo. I thought Golovkin clearly won 6 rounds. I thought there was six competitive / swing rounds. So I mean, it's not 7 then. From round 4 to round 9, I thought Golovkin swept 6 rounds.
Okay, so you thought Golovkin won 6 rounds clearly.
Let me interject. 6 rounds convincingly. I think you can't argue that Canelo won, and they win competitive. I had Golovkin winning the first round as well, but I thought there's a lot of people I've seen that have argued the other way, that Canelo could have won that. I thought Canelo won the second and third. Those were close as well, but I'm talking about Golovkin winning clear rounds. I thought Canelo won those. I think one of them was clearly, I thought, Canelo's best work. I thought the 10th could have went either way, but I give it to Canelo. I think the 11th could have went either way. The 12th, I gave it Golovkin live, but when I rewatched it, I thought Canelo won the 12th a bit more clearly than I thought initially. So I had Golovkin winning about 7 or 8 rounds. I think you could give him the first and maybe 11th or 10th, give him 3, then you could have a 9-3 scorecard. I think that's a bit wide, but I don't think 7 rounds. But I can understand why some people will probably say he didn't win 7 rounds clean.
So how many rounds did Canelo win where you couldn't give them to Golovkin?
6, from round 4 to 9. I think the other 6 were competitive, subjective. I don't think Canelo won all 6. I think that's been
no. Let me ask again. I don't think you understood. How many rounds did Canelo unquestionably win on your card, without a shadow of a doubt?
Second, third, and let me think. One sec. Second, third. I thought he won the 10th round. I know Golovkin came on strong for the 1.5 minutes, but I thought Canelo landed the cleaner shots for about 1 minute, I think.
So what you're saying is that Golovkin clearly won 6 rounds and Canelo clearly won 3. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, and 3 were close. So if you
3 rounds could have gone either way.
Yeah, but if you give them all to Canelo, then you get a draw. That's
okay, right. But why would you give 3 rounds that could have gone either way to the challenger and not one of those rounds to the champion? Why would you do that?
Well, one sec. That is out of context. If you're scoring on the fight, and this is watching it live, if you give it to Canelo based on what you liked, if you liked his shots and his work, then I mean you'll have a total of 6-6. I'm not saying I had a 6-6, but I'm saying some people had it, and that's where I think the confusion.
Well, I saw some people say that Canelo won 11 rounds, so I'm not really all that interested in what most people say.
That's obviously that's way off. That's way off. I mean, 2 of the judges who didn't give it to Canelo had their close fight. So
yeah, but I think 6 rounds to Canelo is way off. I think giving 6 rounds to Canelo is way off. Is it completely out of the question? No, but it's biased.
Well, I mean, if you give it 7 rounds to Golovkin and you give it 6-6, it's only one round difference. Is it really much difference?
Yeah, well, this is the point. It makes a ton of difference if you're giving a clear Golovkin round to Canelo, then yeah, it makes a ton of difference.
No,
because boxing isn't scored. It's scored round by round. So this is how I saw it.
I'm seeing. Let me just before you start. Let me just say, if it's 6 clear rounds to Golovkin, and there's 6 subjective rounds, and I thought Canelo won 3 or 4 of them. 3, I think I said 3. Yeah, 3 of them clearly. If there's 3 other close rounds, and I thought Canelo done the better work in the 12th, so that gives me 4. There's 2 rounds I thought were toss-ups that could have went either way. Now I think 6-6 is being generous, but if I argue I had the 7-5, I could see some people 8-4. there is a difference of 1 round, and if someone wins 7 rounds clearly, then that is a bad decision, and I think Golovkin should have won. But on the other hand, you could argue if it's only 1 round where a judge or someone score it off, you got to look at the score and the tally at because the 10-point system. If there's 1 round difference, I don't think that is a complete robbery. Maybe you could argue it's a bad decision, controversial decision. Maybe the wrong guy won it, but a robbery, I think that's a bit strong word for if it's a 7-5.
But look, here's the point, and maybe you're right, but here's the point. If a guy clearly wins a round and he doesn't get it, then what does that tell you? Then if something is clearly yours and they take it away from you, that's theft. If it's a gray area and they give it to the other guy, then that's a gray area. But if you clearly won the round and they give it to the other guy, then that's theft. If something is clearly yours, so that's my point.
Yeah. So what did you have here? What did you have here? You had a 7-5.
I thought if you score the fight and give Canelo every single benefit of the doubt, which would be biased, a draw was fine. But if you give Golovkin every single benefit of the doubt, which would be biased, it was a 9-3 kind of a fight. So somewhere in between there is fair. 7-5, roughly like that. But me being a Golovkin fan more so than Canelo, live I had it 9-3, which is biased. I admit, watching it again, that was a biased scorecard. But I did a few times again. I can't see how you could give Canelo the fight, even if you score for him and you give him every single benefit of the doubt. It was still a draw for me. So, whatever. Who cares,
it was a draw. Would you argue with this then? I had the 7-5, but if you give me a choice between 6-6 or 8-4, I'd take 8-4. Do you think that's a fair assessment?
I saw a lot of people that.
So I had the 7-5, but if
I saw a lot of people give Canelo at the best 4 rounds. Yeah, I saw a lot of people that I interact with who I like how they score fights. You know what I mean? Because kinds of scorecards out there, but I don't even really.
I can't argue. I thought Golovkin won 7 rounds. I thought he won clearly. What I mean by clearly, dominated 6 rounds. Maybe I thought Golovkin won 1 or 2 competitive rounds. What I mean by competitive, Canelo did a bit of work, but I thought Golovkin won 7 rounds. I had 7-5. I could see 8-4, but I don't think Canelo won that fight. I can't see how you could give Canelo. I mean, some people had Canelo win 7 or 8 rounds. I think that's a bad decision. I think a draw is being generous. We probably have to give him every benefit of the doubt. To give him all 3 or 6 of those rounds would probably be generous. So I thought it was a bad decision. Probably not a robbery. I think that's a bit way off. I thought Kovalev Ward was a robbery. That was the decision where I think even if you argue for Ward being biased, you can only give him about 6 rounds, and I think that's even way off. I thought Kovalev clearly won 7 or 8 rounds. 8 rounds, sorry. I think you could give him 9 rounds.
Well, you just have a different definition of what constitutes a robbery, and that's fine. You know what I mean? I guess that's subjective. But to me, if a guy clearly wins something and he doesn't get it, then that's a robbery. And what really made it a robbery was that scorecard by Adelaide Bird, because right then and there you knew that it was just a setup, right? And look, and her score being so far out was to get you to ignore Trella's score, which was a draw, I believe, and it was still a bad scorecard. But because Adelaide Bird was way far out there, everybody focused on her and kind of let Trella off the hook when his scorecard was just as bad, really, because that wasn't the result. Man, I don't really want to talk. You guys can. I don't really want to talk about that fight anymore.
Well,
the scorecards anyway.
May I say that Victor mentioned that Golovkin versus Canelo, there was that one judge had given Canelo a round that he should not have won. That, like, if you rewatch it, it's clear Golovkin won that round, and yet that one judge gave it to Canelo, making it a draw. So if that judge would have given the round to Golovkin correctly, it would have been a majority decision. No, sorry, split decision or majority? Who had it? Yeah, it would have been a split decision. Split decision, majority. Yeah. Whatever. The decision would have gone to Golovkin.
It's like, it's like Ward winning the 10th round on 1 or 2 scorecards, right? Which was complete and utter bullshit because he got owned in the 10th round.
Oh, that was awful score. I mean, but let me ask. I get the sense that I didn't. I made a bad pick when Kovalev fought Ward. I wasn't on here, but I thought it was a 50-50 fight. If I could go back, Ward is a clear favorite in that rematch. He was gonna get all the benefit of the doubt from the referees. This time he got it from the referee and judges. Even though I thought Kovalev was winning that rematch convincingly, until he got cheated. But I mean, has he got any chance of getting a decision in this fight? I'm not really looking forward to the rematch. I think we know what's gonna happen again.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, I think Golden Boy or whoever is behind the bad decisions, because I can't say, 100% that it's all Golden Boy, but there's chances of them.
Can I ask?
Well, hold on. Let me answer the question.
Yeah,
just real quick. I think Golden Boy really has the gall and the balls to pull off another robbery, because think about it. If they pull off another bad decision, what's gonna happen? Like, who's really gonna do something? You think the Nevada State Athletic Commission is really gonna do something about it? You think the people were gonna do something about it? No, we're gonna be outraged for a couple of weeks, maybe days, maybe a month, and then what? Like, they know there's not really anything that anybody's gonna do to overturn anything. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I was gonna say, what if Canelo gets robbed? Will it be such an outrage? I think Golovkin has got some really loyal fanboys, like some of them on Twitter. I'm not going to name names. I think you guys probably know who I'm talking about. But the things they say online, and it's like ridiculous. Some of the statements are bold statements, and I think some of them just get emotional. Like with the decision, I've seen other fighters that have got robbed. I mean, much worse. I mean, the Pacquiao-Bradley fight, I think, was a much worse decision. There's been other really bad decisions as well. I mean, what happened to Kovalev against Ward was much bad. I mean, I don't even think Golovkin, you could say that is probably just how Eastern Europeans react, but I think he even knew deep down it was a competitive close fight. I think he probably thought he won, but I mean, it was a close fight. I was going to say, what if Canelo gets robbed this time? Would it make a difference, or would you want the best guy to win, or do you think it's fair if Canelo gets robbed? Say he wins and he gets robbed.
Two wrongs don't make a right. I don't care.
Well, it would be like Morales-Barrera, where Morales won the first fight, but he shouldn't have, and then the second one, Morales should have won it, and Barrera won it.
Yeah, that's a good example right there. I think a lot of people would be happy that if Canelo gets robbed, because there's a lot of people out there that hate Canelo, and when I say hate, I don't mean just that they criticize his flaws. I mean, I'm talking real fucking hate. And the type of hate that only a ginger can get, So that's Canelo's situation right there. Him getting the decision over Golovkin didn't help, but then at the same time, it wasn't Canelo's doing, as far as I know. Usually when a guy gets a gift decision, he didn't set it up. It was his promoter. So I don't think it's all that fair to blame the fighter for the bad decision / robbery.
Does Canelo know that he lost the fight?
I think so.
He said, does he know he lost the fight, or he actually believes that it was a draw or that he won the fight? That's what I'm wondering.
I think he knows. That's why he was so aggressive in the post-fight, and when he heard people booing and all that, it's like he was realizing a little bit, shit, I couldn't close the deal,
I mean, he's been through that several times. He don't give a shit about that. He done that several times. He still made it in every real fight he had a loss. So
first of all, I didn't even know
continues on
Lopez
to
was.
the next one.
Oh, you talking about Lara?
All of them. Every real
All
fight.
of them.
Every real fight.
Get out.
Nah.
The Lara ran like a bitch because he couldn't take the body shots.
Would knock him out like a bitch. That's all you gotta do. If you know you're running.
No,
like
you can't knock out him. See, that's the thing,
knock him out
Lopez.
like a bitch.
You always talk about the knockout. He didn't knock him out. Well, here it's a draw. It's like doesn't work that way.
Exactly.
Oh, listen, man. Listen. The fight was close. He still made it with Trout. He robbed him on the cards. He robbed Lara way worse. I don't even remember I remember 117. That's all I remember people laughing at him for. And I don't remember the Golovkin cards, but at the point, you just get over that shit. Like, it's Canelo. He doesn't give a shit about none of that. Don't fight him, period. If that's what you fear, don't fight him. Several other people out there.
I don't think that's how it works, Lopez, but
Yeah,
to your
it
opinion.
could work.
No, don't fight him.
It could
Yeah, don't fight Canelo. Then go fight who?
work.
Well, it would be like Morales, Barrera, where Morales won the fight, but he couldn't take the body shots.
All right, What the fuck you want to fight? They're top guys in the division. You got Billy Joe Saunders.
You know it's about money, by the way.
You got Golovkin. You got Jacobs. You make these fights huge yourself. You clown Canelo. Yo, you can't win fights. People are tired of your cards. Fuck you. Move on.
Well, Canelo's not a bum. Canelo's not a bum, and you're not gonna knock out Canelo, by the way.
I didn't say that, but what I'm simply saying.
Okay, so what do you want them to do against Canelo?
If you're so worried about the robbery, if you're so worried about decisions and go fight other people.
No, I don't think.
Go fight other people. Get a fair shake.
Who said they're afraid of getting robbed against Canelo? Like, we're talking as fans that's what's gonna probably happen again, a robbery.
No. But along this conversation, you just said it didn't work like that. That you can't fight, and I'm telling you, yes, you can. You don't go, you can star Canelo out and say, he's a fuck boy. That's what you can say, simply. And he can keep fighting Khan while you fight real fights.
Yeah,
what would be wrong with that?
Here we go. You go back to Amir Khan, then you're gonna mention Liam Smith
and Cotto.
Cotto was a big win. That was a big win.
Big win. Yeah, come on.
We're not gonna go back to that.
What junior middleweight was he beating? What junior middleweight was he gonna beat? Come on, man. Come on. He's a name. He's a name. Okay, he's a name. But he'd already lost to just a top 10 junior middleweight. Convincingly lost to him.
Who are you talking about?
Cotto.
Yeah, he was a lineal champion. I don't care what you say. He was a lineal champion. He stopped Daniel Gale.
He stopped Daniel Gale. He went into a fight with a pre-injured Sergio Martinez. One that already he wouldn't even let him wear a fucking knee brace.
Now you love talk.
Wow.
You just crazy about.
What was it, 158? Come on, man. Stop it, man. Look. Man, if you're really a good fighter, avenge your loss to Austin Trout. Don't ignore that because that's not against you. But nah, go beat Sergio Martinez that more than likely anybody else would have beat that night too because he didn't have a damn leg. Since he's not going to fight again, it's no fluke. It's no coincidence.
He was a lineal champion.
Trout Cotto was about as close as Charlo Trout. So there you go.
I doubt that. Trout won that fight 8-4-9-3. Cotto
he was getting hit way too much, man.
Charlo was very close.
A lot of people had Trout winning that fight, so
yeah, that was very close. It was a very good fight too. I liked the fight, but Cotto didn't. No. This man lost easily.
Charlo looked bad in that fight, like really bad. Like he was getting hit way too much. And then they're talking about
Charlo. That's what you're gonna do when you fight a Trout. That's what you're gonna do when you fight Trout. You're gonna get hit.
And thank God Charlo. and thank God Trout doesn't even have that much power, man, because of the way he fights. But let me tell you, Charlo moving up to 160 and getting hit like that by, I don't know, it's gonna be a totally different story. So I don't know when people jump. Hold on, when people start saying that Charlo's gonna like just Canelo and Golovkin, they're like they're easy wins. They're fucking. They're mistaken.
Who said that?
Canelo.
People have been saying that. You've been Lopez. You said that he would be the favorite against Canelo and Golovkin.
Never said that. I said those fights.
You said.
I never said that. I never did. I'll tell you that now. Okay. I never said that.
So what's your?
I do think he's much better fights than if you pick a damn.
Here we go.
James Kirkland. I think
Julian Williams.
I'd much rather see those fights. I'd rather see him in those fights. He's the mandatories. If he beats Centeno, so. Let's see it. Why not? That's what you're supposed to do. If you want to hold the belt, it comes with, repercussions, mandatories. So let's see it.
Now, you really think that by beating Centeno Jr., like, what's his name? Charles, he deserves a title shot against a lineal champion. I'm talking about the WBC. I'm talking about
drop your belt then. Drop your belt.
Okay.
Drop your belt.
There we go. No, I'm saying, forget about the belt. Forget about WBC and WBO. I'm talking about makes you like top 2 middleweight. Top 3.
It makes you a guy to get it makes you a guy to get a title shot. You don't want to
fuck the titles, man. You know how they handle that.
Okay, who did Canelo beat? Who did he beat?
It's all a joke, Canelo. Do you think I'm gonna defend him?
Hold on. Who did he beat to earn Cotto? Who he beat? Don't do Charlo.
No one, I think. At middleweight, I don't think he fought a middleweight.
Exactly,
Yeah.
he got it. So it ain't gonna be the first. It ain't gonna be a last.
Yeah, but what has Charlo done?
Drop
Hold
your
on.
belt. Show that pussy between your legs and drop your belt, or whip it out and fight. That's all you gotta do. I mean, this would be a beautiful thing. That's all it is.
Okay, listen. You hype up Charlo because he beat Julian Williams.
I'm not. Why
A
do I?
prospect.
What is hype
Well,
about knocking out an A-level
well,
prospect?
I'm
Okay,
very
tell me
impressed
this.
with that
Tell
one.
me this. Tell me this. Tell me this. Tell me this. All right, I'm gonna go back to people who beat A-level prospects of late. You got Lomachenko beat one in Gary Russell. You got Jermell Charlo that beat one in Erickson Lubin. One in Jamal Charlo that beat J. Rock Williams. Can I think of more? 68. I can't. If you want to say Keytroff for lean, but I don't know if people really looked at a lean that way. Like, yo, you should be hyping that shit up. You after you beat somebody like that and they knocked them out, you should be hyping those dudes up. That's what you want to see.
If
You know,
Julian
don't tell me
Williams
don't
has
tell
to
me
come
A-level
back,
prospects don't mean anything when people want Tank Davis to fight God knows who. Don't tell me
if
A-level
Julian,
prospects
look,
don't mean
man,
something.
if Julian Williams comes back and wins a title, then you can compare him to Gary Russell Jr. For the time being, that's just not fair.
He
Yeah.
needs to fight.
Well, a
No, he
He
prospect.
needs to fight a washed up.
No, he needs to
He needs to
come
fight a
back.
washed up guy and win a title. That's what you're saying.
Well, he's just a
Because it didn't
prospect.
take
Whatever,
Hold on.
it didn't
whatever,
take
whatever.
it didn't take first and foremost, it's not no washed up guys to take titles from at 54. You just ain't gonna you contenders at 154 are better than some of the champions in several divisions.
Well,
It
you have
just
to
is
say
what it
that.
is.
You have to say that to save your narrative.
No. I had to say that
Yeah,
because
no.
I'm right. I'm at to
Julian
say,
Williams hasn't
and I
done
had to
shit.
say that because Gary Russell didn't win his title from someone that was reputable and prime and looked at as the top fighters. No. He did.
But Gary Russell is higher rated than Julia Williams, and that's just a fact. He is. In
And
his own
another thing I'm gonna
division,
say
he's a higher
about
rated
Gary
fighter
Russell.
than Williams.
Another thing you said about Gary Russell, you trying to seem like the only time Lomachenko got credit is when Russell won a fight. No, he got credit that night. So you can't do that. Russell had fought nobody. Williams had fought Centeno and was at least beating him. Was looking to get in the ring with Trout, but Charlo stole him from him and beat him. And then Charlo beat Williams as well. Gary Russell had done nothing. And that's just facts. They didn't fought nobody. He fought one of y'all.
I never said anything about Lomachenko, but that's not the first time you proposed this strawman argument, and we're just gonna have to leave it at that.
You did. You inserted yourself, and you said to compare him to Gary Russell, and I did compare. I compare people who beat prospects recently, and I'm going to rate that highly. A-level prospects. Look, Barrera's about to fight an A-level prospect. If he beats him,
Yeah, but hold on.
Barrera deserves respect.
Well, hold on.
I never.
Lomachenko, how many fights did he have when he fought Russell Jr.?
I don't know.
A few, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I
it's
never
not the
brought
same thing.
Lomachenko's name up. I mean, that's just a fact. So I don't understand what that argument has to do with anything. But I think we should move on because we're not getting anywhere here. But just for the record, I did not bring up Lomachenko's name. You did.
I did to compare A-level guys who beat A-level prospects. And he's saying I cannot hype that. I'm talking to him, basically not you. So when I'm talking to him, I need to now see you reciprocate this for everybody else who's beating A-level prospects and building a resume. Same kind of respect. They knocked theirs out, by the way.
What made Julian Williams A-level prospect?
I'm looking at his record. I think.
Centeno Jr.
Let's see.
Top prospect over here in the States. Julian Williams, a guy that he did not make our Olympic team over here because it would be very tough to do. You see the type of people he's fighting. Andrade, all these guys is guys he was fighting to do
who
it.
don't win medals.
But he's
and
a
shit.
very talented fighter.
So if Daniel Jacobs beats Zulensky, he's better than Charlo.
Hey, he might have an argument. They should fight. I like the guy. He's actually not fighting a super cherry pick this time, but at the end of the day,
he's fighting the guy that knocked out
talks.
Centeno, if I remember, or beat him.
Yeah, he did. He did knock out Centeno. He did. He TKO'd him. I actually like that fight. I can't pronounce the guy's name, the bald-headed Polish guy. Yeah, I like that fight. It's better than what he's been doing. Better than what he's been doing. But I wouldn't be surprised if he struggles in the fucking fight because, like I said, Danny Jacobs ain't that fucking good. But at the
Who,
end of the day,
who
what
cares
nobody.
about Charlo, Danny Jacobs, or Gary Russell? They're all bums, man. So let's just move on.
Did you call him gay
Like top
gay
10.
Russell
Wait,
Jr.?
wait. Does Charlo have to knock out Centeno Jr. to like? If he doesn't knock him out, what's gonna happen here?
He needs to. I mean, he should.
Are you gonna be like, oh, he can kill him or something? Because he used
He
that word
should.
later. He has to kill.
Should.
Yes.
He should. I mean, I
He
expect him
should.
to. I would like
I
to see
wanna
him do it.
And if he doesn't,
All he gotta win. All he gotta do is win and go to the next one. What do you want me to do? Punch him? What knockout? What?
no, because you keep saying like when somebody doesn't win by knockout, they fall from your
Win
graces.
this. Win this one. Look good in the next one. If he can't knock this guy out, we will talk about why he can't. Sure.
And you aggregate
we
that
wanna-
with the Highland win there, where the guy had one leg and he had actually trouble stopping
Yeah,
him.
where the WBC mandated him to
His
fight.
160 debut. So
What?
that on
Okay,
top
okay.
of.
Yeah, you
Yes.
bring that up as if he picked that opponent. Did he pick that
I don't
opponent?
care.
Yes
Who
or no?
cares if you picked him up?
Okay, so if the WBC
No, no,
mandates
no.
you to fight, the WBC tells you,
I don't
okay, here
care.
you fighting this
I'm
guy.
just talking
Come
about
on, man.
he had trouble with that
Yeah,
guy with
you-
one leg. I don't care if he found it on the street.
Okay,
or,
well, you were the same guy that's praising Koto as lineal champion. Okay,
He
when
was
he's
a lineal
fighting
champion.
a guy we knew had an injury. This guy, you guys did not know. I did not know he was coming in that ring with an injury until what? Maybe when he walked to the ring with the brace on. I think he had a brace on. I don't remember. But
So he wasn't-
So we all
mandated.
knew. Wait, hold on. So we all knew he had an injury, and yet everybody picked him to win. How did that happen?
I don't think everybody picked him to win.
Oh,
But at
Cotto was
the end
going
of
to
the
get
day,
killed.
anybody
was
that
bigger.
did pick against
No, they were.
anybody that did pick against
Nobody.
Cotto, they picked against him because they that just showed you how bad off he was at the time. Even to say, man, I still think an injured one beats him.
Okay,
That
I
just
gotta
shows you.
Underrated him.
I gotta
He was
interject here.
underrated.
I gotta interject here and ask. Lowplace has Adonis Stevenson #1, and the only reason why I bring that up is because you guys know he has extreme opinions. So why continue to debate
Extreme or
about?
contradictory.
What's that?
I just make guys live up to a standard. I make them live up to something.
All right. Well, listen. I think Precise had the right idea about moving on. I wanted to ask you guys because we were talking earlier about bad decisions, and I started thinking about this. Anthony Joshua really is the golden goose over in England right now. There's nobody out there in England that can make the numbers, pull in the numbers that these guys makes locally. And so I started sympathizing a little bit here with Deontay Wilder, who doesn't want to go over to England and fight Joshua. Now, is this a negotiation tactic that he wants more money to go over there, or does he actually have a point? Should he try to lobby to get neutral judges and maybe even a neutral location for the fight?
I think you're doing something real hideous here. You putting the crime on. It's not putting the crime on him, but it's sort of like you're pointing at something that hasn't been corrupt yet. Like he hasn't done that yet. I can't stand when we do that to fighters, where they do everything right and then they start pointing. But yeah, maybe this one time he's gonna do this. Nah, man, he's done his part. I respect what he's done. He's gave everybody a fair shake that came over there. In my eyes, I don't agree with what Precise was talking about. Klitschko, no, he got beat. This is what it is. So Wilder, go where the money is, man. Joshua's been doing it right so far, and even if he don't do it right, you don't see people getting their way with Canelo. It's gonna be the same thing.
Okay,
But he is
first of
doing it
all,
right so far. You gotta respect that.
I never said Klitschko didn't get beat, so you could shove that up your ass. And
No,
secondly,
you make excuses for him. You made excuses for him. You
No, I
blaming
just- no,
Joshua
no,
on
look.
God knows what.
look,
And
Lowplace,
it's
you
just some
have
speculation,
Hold on.
Conspiracy
Lowplace.
nonsense.
You have opinions on fights. I have my opinions. Okay, agree to disagree. No need to get into your feelings. Now, as far as Wilder going over to UK, Wilder can't outbox Spielka. Okay, if Wilder wins a fight legitimately, it's gonna be by knockout. So the fight could happen in my fucking backyard. If Wilder doesn't knock him out, he's not winning the fight. I don't give a shit. So Joshua shouldn't be coming to US because if he doesn't knock out Wilder, he's gonna be getting robbed because I don't know. It's just how I see it, man. Wilder has a puncher's chance, and that's it. A good puncher's chance. Don't get me wrong. I think he could very well knock out Joshua, but he ain't gonna be winning no decision. I don't care where the fight is. But that's just what I think.
Yeah, I agree. Wilder doesn't have the fundamentals to actually outbox anybody. He has that right hand. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Well,
But I
yeah.
give Wilder a very good chance of knocking out Joshua if he could take him into the 7th, 8th, 9th, whatever round. You know what I mean? Very
Mhm.
good chance.
Well, he still has to get past Luis Ortiz. That's still not 100% sure. So we'll see.
75-year-old.
75-year-old. Yeah,
That's
some people
already
say.
taken care of, man. That's already taken care of, man.
You
In
think
what
so?
way?
Well, Luis Ortiz is a convicted PED user, right?
Mhm.
And now he's gonna be clean as ever. So I don't know if you guys understand what that means, but if you've been winning juiced and now you're old and clean, you're gonna look like shit. And that was the whole point of, right? So he's gonna look terrible. Don't be surprised if he comes in at the highest weight of his career. If he's flabby and fat, he can't use his PEDs anymore. So he's old. He's basically a shot fighter going into that ring, man. Don't be surprised if he just gives up.
So you think?
Wow.
So no.
PBC style?
Hmm?
PBC style stoppage in the corner or something?
Yeah, and that's another thing. As soon as Wilder hurts him, right. It could be that, or as soon as Wilder hits him and hurts him, the ref's gonna jump in and stop the fight. You know what I mean? Ortiz could outbox him for 12 rounds and he won't get the decision. You already know how the script. You know what I mean? So it's what's Ortiz's chance? Knock him out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's.
Allen is going 8 or 9 rounds with you. Well, you don't think Wilder can? Wilder's gonna go 12 with you.
Yeah,
easy.
I
If
don't.
He can't knock
I
out
don't-
Dave
I
Allen.
think Dave Allen might know more in the ring than Wilder. I've argued that before. I will argue it again. No, I think Dave Allen can survive if he wants better than Wilder can. Wilder can probably do one thing better than Dave Allen. That's punch. That's it. That's it. And that can set him apart, and that has set him apart. It just is what it is. Dave Allen has a lot more head movement, a lot more to the arsenal than what it looked like. He's not a top fighter. But like I argue with Spilker, he's not a top fighter. But watch him whoop on Wilder's ass when he get in there because he's a more complete fighter. What happened? He's just as big about almost, and he started whooping on his ass because he had a few more skills than him, had more to him. So I personally think Dave Allen can go the distance. I think it was an 8-round fight. I don't remember, but can go rounds or whatever it be. And Wilder could possibly out much earlier.
The other thing I wanted to talk
It is
about.
what it is. He's
The other thing I want to get back to that Spilka fight, but I was watching the Luis Ortiz versus Malik Scott fight because we're doing a film analysis about that one. I was surprised at how Luis Ortiz was really lost in that fight. He wasn't really creating the openings, and it goes back to what you said, Precise, about people having that Cuban fetish. You know, they see somebody who was part of the Cuban amateur team, and right away they peg this person as being some sort of boxing deity. Luis Ortiz had a lot of trouble against Malik Scott. Now, again, if you go on the defensive, even a solid professional like Ortiz is going to have trouble looking good. That being said, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but I've been watching a lot of Wilder fights recently, really watching them in slow motion, and I'm starting to see what he does well. I mean, we all know what he does wrong, right? He's off balance, he windmills, he's too jittery, but I'm starting to see some of the things that he does well that really creates trouble for his opponents. And the main one is he knows how to use that speed to really get out. Now, his lack of technique is going to cost him later on in his career, but for now it's working pretty well. He jumps from one end of the ring to the other, puts those long ass arms of his out there, and guys can't get close to him. And Luis Ortiz has been looking slower and slower with each fight. So I mean,
He's trying to ambush, man. Fucking ambush.
who's trying to ambush? You saying Ortiz? Butcher, are you saying Ortiz is gonna try to ambush Wilder?
No, Wilder's sometimes he does. He's moving back and then he comes forward like a fucking crazy guy throwing windmill punches.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to ambush you and stuff, but it doesn't work, man. I mean, against a good boxer, it's not gonna work.
I never liked Wilder, but I've always given them credit, and his team. I've always given them credit for understanding exactly what they're working with and tailoring the game plan to who they got in front of them.
Mhm.
So Wilder will give up rounds. He'll get outboxed. He'll lose rounds to land that one bomb because he knows that he could give up rounds and they're still going to get scored for him. And all he has to do is hit you with one good punch. Fight. So he has the luxury of giving up rounds, taking his time, looking at you, saving his power, saving his speed, and then just exploding and overwhelming you, hitting you with something and forcing the stoppage.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like Canelo in what was that Mexican cat he fought that was a little bit slick and people were saying he was getting outboxed. Same with Amir Khan. He just waits and sits there. He makes the rounds competitive, close, because he knows that as long as he doesn't get completely schooled, he's going to get the round. He takes his time and then he lands the bomb. He did that against both Khan and I forget the dude's name right now. But
Alfonso Gomez.
Mexican cat that liked to rap before the fight.
Yeah, Alfonso Gomez.
He can't do that with Ortiz's fight. Ortiz can hurt him. You play with Ortiz, sit and wait and let this guy whoop on you, he could get hurt. He ain't got the toughest chin in the world. Ortiz can put some shit on him. So I don't know. I'm just letting the fight play out. One thing my issue is, could have fought him a long fucking time ago. So.
Wait, has Wilder's chin been tested?
But yeah, Wilder been wobbled like a muffin. Wilder don't got a good chin.
Been knocked down and knocked out in the amateurs.
Oh, okay, but at the professional level, I don't remember.
Knocked down. He was knocked down by some fatso.
Oh, I gotta look it up.
Molina wobbled his ass a few times.
Oh yeah. No, you're Molina did. Yeah, true.
Yeah, so that's.
He can't just do that. It's a good fight. I don't know. I don't think it's. I ain't really looking at it with no bad intention of seeing anything's gonna happen. I think I'm being entertained. Like, yeah. The only thing is, he could have fought him long ago, and this dude looked like he's 75. Well, not 75, but he's 62 at least.
Who did Ortiz beat, really? Like, who did he beat? Honestly.
Yeah, other than Brian Jennings.
Jennings after Klitschko couldn't.
Jennings ain't shit.
Well, I mean, come on, now we're exaggerating.
Yeah, I mean, Klitschko was past his prime, old, and that fight is where we saw the deterioration of Klitschko, and Tyson Fury capitalized, and then later on, DJ capitalized off of that. That was where Klitschko basically slipped and fell off the edge. And Jennings did come close to winning that fight? No.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I think the point Lowplace is making is that he went 12 rounds. And
go ahead.
Yeah, I think Lowplace is making the point that Jennings at least went 12 rounds against Klitschko, but he couldn't against Ortiz. So that means that like there's something there about Ortiz's power and the way he places his shots, especially the counterpunching.
Well, because Jennings was getting close to Klitschko, who doesn't like to fight on the inside, and Ortiz is really good on the inside. He loves to fight on the inside. You know what I mean? So it was a bad style matchup for Jennings, and Klitschko had slipped, and it was an ugly fight, and maybe Jennings won some rounds, but he was tackling Klitschko, he was coming in with his head, and Klitschko was just holding him, and which he should have been doing with the guy that's bum rushing you like that, and I don't know, man, it was just such an ugly fight, and Jennings wasn't doing anything impressive. I wasn't impressed by either guy. It was just a bad style matchup, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I can.
But let's be honest. This is the fight we wanted, though. I mean, who else was Wilder gonna fight at this point? Not Joshua, not Parker, not
Povetkin.
I mean, it's the fight we wanted. So, well,
yeah, I wanted to fight 2 years ago.
Yeah, true. Yeah, instead we got Wilder against fucking Stiverne too. Fucking great fight.
I'm convinced Stiverne knew he was gonna lose that fight. And that's why he showed up all fat. No, it's really psychological.
You can see in his fucking face, man. He comes in fatter than ever.
He didn't throw a punch.
That's a joke, man.
Did he throw a punch?
I don't even think he threw anything.
Nah, he was done, man. He knew psychologically the guy was.
He went there to get sacrificed.
He couldn't help the fight. Or he wouldn't step aside. But shit, I'd rather see him rematch like Gerald Washington and that shit.
Yeah, that would have been better than fucking Stiverne too, man. Ugh.
Yeah.
But now the question remains.
Wilder was losing every round.
Yeah, he was, man. He was. But the question remains now. Wilder is taking on Ortiz. Now, Precise, you're saying Ortiz is going to look awful because of his lack of PEDs. That means that no matter what he does, he will not be getting any credit from you.
Who, Wilder?
Yeah.
Well, we have to see what happens, you know what I mean? I can't say that before the fight. This is what I think going into it, but I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I just don't think he's going to look very good. And if Wilder just decides to dance around and move around and just move and move and move and move and pick his spots, he can't cut the ring off. He's only really good as a counter puncher.
Mm-hmm.
He's not a very good lead puncher. He doesn't set up his punches very well. He's great if you give him something. What if Wilder doesn't give him anything and just pulls a Erislan Di Lara?
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's going to be a beautiful boxing clinic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point because, I mean, Ortiz against Malik Scott, again, like you said, Scott wasn't giving him any openings and he really struggled to find something to... He dropped Scott two times. Was that?
Wilder can't fight like Malik shot.
I know, that's the problem. But he does have speed and good reflexes. So, like Precise was saying, like if you watch the Wilder versus Washington fight, neither guy was really offering up much. They were both scared of getting tagged. And so I can see something similar happening against Ortiz, who's waiting for an opening, and Wilder doesn't give him anything, and it's just both guys fainting and not much really happening.
Yeah, that's what I see. Toe to toe from range. I don't see anybody gets on they toes and they start moving around the ring. It's gonna be Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
And Wilder's gonna be in the middle of the ring, just circling, just whatever way that Ortiz is going. And the same with Wilder. If Wilder gets out there and start doing that, I think Ortiz, they have the same kind of reach. You don't got to go chasing them. At some point, you're gonna have to stand and fight. You're gonna have to throw shit. You can counter at that point. Have to use much legs as a heavyweight in this fight? I don't think so.
Yeah,
try and make sure you're in front of your man.
Yeah, and the other thing about that is, like you said, Ortiz's legs. Like I was watching okay, here's the thing. Here's what I'm gonna try to break down, and I'm gonna do this in the video that we're gonna make. But Malik Scott has been. And by the way, Lowplace, could you mute your mic, please, when you're eating chips? Because we can hear you crunching.
It's gushers, my bad.
No problem.
Yeah, my bad.
No problem. But yeah, that's the thing, that Malik Scott was showing some real good. Butcher, what's the worst? What word can I use instead of slick?
Survival skills.
Running skills.
Yeah, yeah, his survival skills. He was using his survival skills. Now, Wilder, compared to Malik Scott, has really bad footwork and he's off balance most of the time. That being said, he has better reflexes, I think. Mm-hmm. And Ortiz is going to be watching out for that power. So just that knowledge that Wilder has that type of power is going to deter Luis Ortiz from being too aggressive. So I think we're going to see, like Lowplace said, I think we're going to see a tit for tat type of fight where nothing much really happens unless Wilder can find that right handle of Sun and just lay Ortiz out. And that's the other thing. How good is Ortiz's chin anyway?
I'm pretty sure it's...
I mean, I think both of them early. I take a big shot. If I'm Ortiz, I'm definitely doing it with Wilder. Goofy legged. I'm throwing something dead, and you do not dodge punches well. You don't really. He don't have no experience with southpaws that have the same kind of reach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving him the right hand. I'm playing with him a little bit. I'm standing inside of his lead foot, and I'm like, yeah, I'm inviting that shit. My outside hand, and I'm coming back with my own, and there you go. The fight could be over. You could definitely change the tide in what people see, the judges and his mind right then and there when you crack his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Ortiz. I don't think Ortiz should just quick, fast, and a hurry. Look to tap that chin.
But I think that's a catch-22. In other words, if he's standing in front of Wilder and daring him to throw the right hand so he can counter it, Wilder has better than expected hand speed, and there's that very high possibility that he catches Ortiz, and Ortiz just does, because Ortiz was getting caught with right hands from Malik Scott.
You know what's coming. No, you know what's coming. You know, Malik Scott, at least you think like, yo, is he ever going to throw? You get lured into, you know, this dude ain't even fighting me back. You lose interest, and you know he's not a one punch either. With Wilder, you know what's coming. If it, maybe slap a left hook, and then the right hand's coming. You know what he want. If you feel like you can't time it, you know, just duck it. Get out the way of it. You really don't change the levels well with it. It take him a few rounds to even try to do that. If I'm Ortiz, I'm going for it. And even if you don't want to just try to time it and counter it, lead on his ass. Boy, his defense ain't no good, man. It's not like he's going to step back and hit you with a counter check left hook or something. No, hell no. It's smooth selling.
I do agree about that.
He's going to do everything in his power not to get hit by it. And it's going to be the wrong thing and drop him out of position. He can't counter you. If you see that, just keep on. Now, let's look at the Dorticos game plan where he kept throwing it straight. If Gassiev didn't have the defense he had up, that would have been the right fucking thing. So if you see Wilder go back and he's all off balance and you like he done everything in his power to avoid this right hand, but he done nothing right to do it. Fuck it. Keep pushing him back, throwing that left hand. In a way, I don't think Ortiz should be patient. He should be looking to knock his ass out.
Yeah, that's okay. First of all, the point you made about Malik Scott being so defensive that Ortiz got hypnotized and really lost interest in or attention. He lost focus about what was coming back. That's a good point, and I noticed that watching the fight as well. So you're saying that against Wilder, he's gonna respect the power more, but then now you're saying that he should say fuck it and just go in there. We saw how Szpilka went into full retard mode when he took on Wilder in that, what was the 10th round or 9th round, and he got tagged with a huge right hand, and he went down. So
I think he jumped in with a right hook too as well, didn't he?
I think it was the was the left or
he jumped in with a lead right. He jumped in with a lead right hook, I believe. It was something that Ronnie Shields kept saying, man. We was telling him the whole camp not to do this shit because he had, and he said he had not been doing it none before that fight. And with a lead right hook. And Wilder came with his own straight right, not straight right hand, but it was a big ass right hook, and countered him. He got there faster. It may have been, I think it was a lead right hook from Szpilka out the southpaw. But what I'm saying is, it's not really. He's not a timing type of guy. He's not that guy, man. Like it was like maybe 3 fights ago, 2 or 3 fights ago, he was trying to put this in his repertoire. You could see him like practicing it in the ring, like trying to step back and throw the left hook, and the shit wasn't working for him. Step back and throw the right hand, it just wasn't working. It wasn't clicking. But I doubt it. If I'm Ortiz, I know I'm the B side. I know the longer this go, he knows how old he is. Hell, the longer this shit go, man, fuck it, go for broke, man. This dude has his chin up in the air, and you seen him wobble, man. You consider yourself a big puncher, put it on.
So who you picking?
The tape says Ortiz.
I think
that's what I go by.
If it's a real fight, which I don't think it is, but if it's a real fight, Ortiz should easily outbox Deontay Wilder. But I just don't think it's a real fight, guys.
You don't think that if it's a legitimate... first of all, you said if it's a legitimate fight, you think Ortiz outboxes Wilder.
Him easy, yeah, if it's a legit fight, but I don't think he's coming to win.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. I'm going to put it up on the screen.
Well, guys, explain to me why Deontay Wilder is the favorite here. Explain it to me, because when I look at Szpilka outboxing Deontay Wilder fairly easily, and Ortiz is at least 1 level, maybe even 2, seeing as Brian Jennings beat Szpilka and Ortiz beat Brian Jennings. How is Deontay Wilder the favorite in this fight? I don't get it. Somebody explain that to me.
I guess because he's younger and the power that he has, people believe that eventually he's gonna land that big shot and he's gonna take the old guy out. I mean, that's the only explanation I have.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but like technically, Deontay Wilder's no match for this guy. Technically, right?
Yeah, technically, I mean, he's not much for anybody.
Well, that's not quite true, man. Like I said, we focus so much on what he does bad, but he actually does some things there that present particular challenges for the fight for the guys he's fought. Now, there is a flip side to that coin, which is his opposition has not been the best. For example, Szpilka wasn't really all that great. First of all, Stiverne, the first fight, I am convinced that he came in there to win. He was really motivated in the first fight. But again, he's a 6'1" guy fighting a guy who's, according to BoxRec, is listed as being 6'7". So there's a 6-inch difference there officially, according to BoxRec. That's the type of fighter that Deontay Wilder can eat up. So other than that, who else is there in Wilder's resume? Gerald Washington, Eric Molina. So I do agree that it's easy to get away making mistakes against those guys. Can he make those mistakes against Ortiz? Can he make those mistakes against Joshua? I don't know. As to the question as to why he's the favorite, he's in the upper echelon of the PBC management, or promotion, I should say. He's really one of the favorites, and they're trying to cash him out against Anthony Joshua. So that's why he's the favorite in every fight up until he fights Joshua. They're looking for that ATM fight, which is the Joshua fight.
They didn't have to take this fight, but they took it.
Yeah, right? It's a voluntary fight. So what are you saying? Like, what are we missing here?
That's my point. I'm racking my brain trying to figure out what the hell we're missing here, and the only answer I could come up with is fixed fight.
I was thinking there was a backlash because of the fans. They were asking for this fight, and then there was the whole thing with the pills that Ortiz was taking. Some say it was legit. So maybe I thought, maybe because of the fan outrage, they actually made the fight after the Stiverne.
Yeah,
there was a lot of outrage because...
Yeah, I don't think they care. I don't think that's not the reason. Yeah, there's obviously something more they know that we don't. Yeah. By the way, Wilder is a 3.5 favorite.
3.5.
Yeah.
You think those odds are gonna get closer during the fight, or you think they're gonna widen for Wilder even more?
When is the fight? March 10th?
The 3rd.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Yeah, it's coming up already, man. And remember, February is we only got about 21 days left of February, so that's about 3 weeks, man.
Yeah, what's in this month? What the fuck is in this month?
Well, now that's a good question. Let me check my trusty calendar here that Bucho printed out for me. February.
When is Eubank Groves?
Eubanks Groves next week. Yeah, on Saturday. We also have on Friday, the 16th, is Paulos Moses versus Raimundo Beltran. That should be a good one. I think it's on ESPN Sports.
Roy Jones.
Oh, he's fighting tomorrow. Yeah. He's fighting tomorrow.
Who the fuck cares, man?
Well, we asked James Toney that, and he goes like, "Oh yeah, I sympathize with Roy Jones, even though I hate him." But there you go, man. Two guys. Yeah, Roy Jones is fighting on UFC Fight Pass, by the way. So if you guys have UFC Fight Pass, you can catch his final fight. On Sunday, the 18th of February, we have Devon Alexander against Victor Ortiz, a fight that should have taken place in 2011, and now it's just a fight between two faded names. Alexander, who's been addicted to pain pills.
I love that fight.
Yeah,
I love that fight.
You're excited about what are you excited about? Alexander's pain pills or Ortiz's rubbing what's it called? Car oil all over his skin?
The right kind of circus is just the right kind of circus sometimes.
I'm convinced, Lowplace, you're the type of guy. I'm convinced you're the type of guy that would laugh while the world burns. You'd be sitting there laughing while everybody's burning up.
I don't know about that, but this is the right kind of circus. I like, first and foremost, Victor Ortiz is always in a fun fight. It's just that. Shit. This motherfucker made Mayweather look fun. He did. Mayweather had to start opening up with straight right hands by the boatload, or Victor Ortiz was gonna run his ass over, man.
Listen, I don't want to.
For Victor.
I don't want to sound like an asshole here, but I'm gonna do it. I think we should start a betting line over under the odds that Ortiz is gonna quit against Alexander. I think we should do that, man.
Yeah, we should. That guy's gonna give a good fight for 4 rounds, then he's gonna get dropped, and then he's gonna just quit.
But then Ortiz, didn't Devin Alexander kind of quit when he lost that fight? Who was he losing to on PBC?
Bradley. Oh no.
I'm talking about recently.
Who? Devin Alexander?
Yeah, who did he fight?
He got beat. He got beat recently. and he took the break. I think he was the Martinez. I think it was Martinez, and then when he lost to Khan, it definitely wasn't trying in that fight.
Yeah, after
the end of that fight, he just dealt with it. Like, okay, I'm here, I'm standing here. Shit, what's the point? That's the same as quitting to me. Aaron Martinez, it seemed like later in that fight, he just wasn't in it. He was just like in La La Land, just there. And Martinez was just out working his ass and shit. Victor Ortiz might make somebody else quit tonight. I'm ready to see it. I'm rooting for Victor, man. I'm a long time fan. That's all I gotta say. That's my guy. Like, I'm not a fan of top fighters, but you give me a circus and I can find some fanhood in that shit.
First of all, Bucho, aren't you scared of circuses? Bucho?
Because of clowns?
Yeah, you're scared of clowns, right? Yeah, so fuck the circus for you. Lowplace, meanwhile, he loves the circus. But let me tell you something. I hope, and I'm saying this seriously because I hate to see this. I hope nobody throws trash at Ortiz again, because that last time that somebody threw pizza boxes or hamburger wrappers, I don't know what it was, at his face, I laughed, but then I also cried for Victor Ortiz. So I hope nobody else does that again, and I hope nobody misinterprets what I'm saying as encouraging somebody to throw garbage at Victor Ortiz. And I'm pretty sure there's
I think that's the same night. I think that comes on after the World Boxing Super Series. I think that the whole night is like, that day is like lit up with fights, but it's like the Danny Garcia cherry pick, then the super middleweight fight for Gabriel and Benavidez that I actually did not enjoy, and I think a lot of people like that shit.
That was a good fight, man. Benavidez versus that Eastern European. Well, first of all, I gotta make a correction here. Alexander Ortiz is not on Sunday. It's just because there wasn't any more plays left in the calendar, but it's on Saturday. Eubank versus Groves is on the same day. Yeah, that's what you. That's what you mentioned. 17th. Yeah, that's why you mentioned the super middleweight fight, and Garcia versus Rios, which. I mean, I don't think anybody's excited about that one. And on the 24th of February, we got Srisaket Sonrong Visai taking on Juan Francisco Estrada. Whew. That's going to be...
That's a good ass fight.
I hope he knock Estrada the fuck out.
Yeah, that's what you say, man. That's what you say. But Estrada, let me tell you something. The little rooster, he's got some fighting.
Knock his ass out, man. I hope Kit Kat knocked his ass the fuck out, man.
Somebody made a very...
down there.
Somebody made a very, very, very disrespectful comment in one of the BDA videos, and he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he said, the dog eater, he said, the dog eater is a dirty fighter. I hope Estrada sends him back to picking trash after this. I'm like, whoa, we got some real tough guys in the fucking...
He did admit to eating some dogs or something, or did Max do that shit? Max was like, yo, it was trash cans. He's like, you was eating out of trash cans. I'm like, damn, Max, calm the fuck down, man. Why you exposing them like that? Like, after his biggest victory.
Well, you never looked through somebody's trash before?
Huh?
You've never looked through somebody's trash before?
Who? Kit Kat?
No, you've never looked through some... Like, you'd be ashamed if somebody outs you as a trash picker?
No, if I had to spy on you or something, I'd go through your trash, but Max exposed them. Like, yo, he was fucking eating his trash cans and had nothing to eat, eating scraps. And I'm like, damn, bro, you talking to the whole world right now. Like, calm down, son. Don't do him like that. But just for that, he gonna knock Estrada fuck out for me. How about that?
All right, well, that's
all them hypes down there, and he gonna just take care of fucking business, man.
That's all right. So we got a prediction from Lowplace right there. So yeah, man, we talked about this fucking Luis Ortiz fight and how he might be getting set up. Now here's the thing. I asked you if this guy has a chin, and I'm looking at his. I'm putting a photograph up there of his. There you go, standing in front of Deontay Wilder. One thing I will say for Luis Ortiz is he has a thick neck, and usually a thick neck equates to having a good chin. So, man, I suppose we'll see what this is all about here when he takes on Wilder. But, you know, Precise is saying that there's...
He doesn't fight like he has a good chin.
He doesn't fight like he has a good chin?
You remember Dortico? We were wondering if he had a good chin, and he fights like he has a good... He trusts his chin, right? Because it's a good chin.
Right.
So he goes to war. Ortiz is more like Rigondia, right? Who doesn't have a chin. He's more like Lara, who doesn't have a chin.
Yeah,
He doesn't
man.
run, but because he never fought a Canelo yet. But Deontay, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, man. Like, it's gonna be... He's never really been tested chin-wise, and he's stepping in there against the biggest puncher in the heavyweight division right now. So it's not necessarily the best test. But, again, he seems to be willing to do it. Now, I do agree with your point about this is a voluntary defense. Now, when I see the word voluntary next to Deontay Wilder's name, I'm surprised they picked this fight, because it seemed like they would have picked some... Maybe they would have picked Francois Botha as a voluntary title defense. The fact that they're picking Luis Ortiz tells you that they're very confident that they're going to get this win. So
They know something we don't, right? We're sitting here racking our brain. They know something we don't. I'm telling you, they know something we don't.
do me a favor, man.
Cuba ever had a heavyweight champion?
What was that? What was the
Definitely
question?
not modern. Like Cuba ever had a heavyweight champion?
No,
Nope.
no.
I don't think.
He'd be the first one. Yeah, he'd make history.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna see. Let's see some history. Unless it's like back, way back. I don't know about that.
No, there's never been, because I when John Ruiz won the heavyweight title, well, a portion of the heavyweight title, everybody was always saying that he was the first Latino heavyweight to win a title.
Yeah.
So that means no Cuban, no Salvadorian, no Mexican, no Colombian, nobody ever won that title. And it might
Jose
seem,
Rivalta tried against Tyson, right?
poof, you're going way, yeah, that's way, Jose Rivalta.
And
What,
Klitschko knocked out what's his face again?
Gonzalez.
Oh,
Gonzalez.
no, the Cuban. Odin.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh.
He hurt himself. I don't think he knocked him out. The guy hurt himself during the fight.
Yeah, the
He
fat
hit him
one,
high
right?
on the head, and he.
Solis, something
bumping.
Solis or Salido. It was with an S.
That guy, Luis Ortiz. Luis Ortiz was a career sparring partner for that guy. So
Oh boy.
think about that.
Yeah, let that sink in for a while there. Yeesh. All right, so guys, before we go, first of all, thank you for being here again, Precise Lowplace, and I want to thank Hamed for being. But I got to ask you about your future projects. I'll start with Lowplace. Lowplace, what do you have in line over at your channel that we're gonna put in the description of the video?
No. I don't know, man. I was thinking about pissing off some of the Terrence Crawford fans because C-level dude just running down on him, and it's like, see, like quantity over quality on the resume, right? Like that's what you're looking for. Like a lot of guys, when you're not feared or nothing like that, you can get the quantity and maybe a little quality. Crawford has a lot of quantity and to me very little quality. And you know, and no fear in fighting him. It's like, yo, I can fight you. And the what's the guy, the Latino guy at 135 came out of that basically unscathed. Ricky Burns came out unscathed. You fight Gamboa smaller, knock him out. Like that, you get out of there. But then when you get up to the real 40 post star, like you don't show that kind of fear. So people like now it's shown when you get to welterweight, a C-level dude is running down on you. It's just like, I was gonna make a video called "Your Pound for Pound #1" versus my pound for pound #1. I was just gonna show the huge differences treated in face-to-face altercations and stuff like that. And I wasn't gonna just do it for Crawford. I was gonna pick everybody's pick of the litter for their #1, but but I said fuck it, I don't feel like getting around to it. I don't know.
Jesus. All that just to say that fuck it, you didn't want to do it at the end.
Yeah, man, I'm lazy, man. It's computer shit. I don't know, man. I'm enjoying my days, man.
Yeah, well,
eating
yeah.
Jimmy cheese and shit all day.
What the hell is chimichis anyway? What's chimichis?
See what?
What's
you cut
that?
out.
What's chimichis? What is that?
What is chimichis?
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. Hello?
You know, it's like honestly.
It's
Come
like
on, man.
I don't know what chimichis.
Like cream cheese inside of this like fried tortilla. It's like wrapped up like a burrito.
Okay, we don't
Cream
have that
cheese
shit.
in there.
That sounds
You
like
don't have that.
No, that sounds like an Americanized version also of chimi. Are you saying chimichanga or chimichis?
I don't know what a chimichanga is. I never heard of chimichanga, but chimichanga.
Yeah, okay. I'm watching a photograph of a It's like a cheesecake, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it's like a You're right. It's like a chimichanga, but it's not the beef in it. It's like
All right.
just. Yeah, it's like cheesecake, and then you get scoops of ice cream, get fucking cinnamon and honey and
Alright,
what
you know
else I
what?
put on there? Butter and shit. Yeah, you fuck it up, man. It's good as shit.
You're making me hungry with that.
Am I the only one?
Yeah, go ahead.
You guys are talking about some crazy shit. But am I the only one who thinks Errol Spence Jr. is gonna brutalize Terrence Crawford?
Nah, he is.
That fight ain't happening, is it?
No, it's not happening.
Terrence Crawford.
What do you mean?
Terrence Crawford team came out and said, "See, they pissed me off, like in a way, because Terrence Crawford was he had every belt. So if that's the case, if you really want Keith Thurman,
could have had him. Yeah,
enforce their
could have had
rule.
him.
Yeah, enforce their rule and say I want to fight the WBA champion. Instead, you do it with the damn WBO and to the people the guy that's considered maybe the weakest champion.
Guys,
I like
Bob
him as a
Arum.
fighter.
Bob Arum was afraid to put Terrence Crawford in there with Pacquiao, that little southpaw. I'm
Wait
not
a
saying
minute.
Spence is as good, but he's stronger and he hits harder than Pacquiao. And he's tougher.
Holy, what's Crawford Gamboa? I mean, that tells you something.
Yeah.
This he can get hurt.
I actually
I
thought
mean, that
it
was
was the opposite.
35, and he's going to be stronger at 47. Go ahead, BDA.
Well, I was just gonna say that I thought it was the opposite. I thought Bob Arum definitely wanted Terrence Crawford in there against Pacquiao in order to get Pacquiao's name in Terrence Crawford's resume.
Yeah, I did too.
But he didn't. He said he's on record saying he didn't.
But
Bob Arum is on record saying that his matchmakers they think Pacquiao is a little bit too good for Terrence Crawford. This is straight from the horse's mouth.
Whoa.
This was after the Posto fight when Crawford got exposed. Bob Arum said this. I think.
But what do you mean by exposed against Postal? In what sense was he exposed?
That Crawford got this reputation as this mean guy, right? He'll come after you, knock you out, and get inside of your shots and beat you up, blah, 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 right?
Mhm.
But then he gets in there with Posto and he runs, and Posto ain't even that hard of a hitter. So what was the problem with Posto? He came straight in and threw straight punches down the middle and protected himself well. He's basic as fuck, but he's technically sound. He throws straight down the middle, and he's got good defense, and he throws short punches.
I thought the logic against
If he ran from Posto, what the fuck is he gonna do when Spence gets in front of him?
that's a good
Box
point.
his ass like Kilbrook did?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, but Spence gonna be coming forward more than Postol, right?
Man,
Mhm.
Spence gonna eat Terrence Crawford ass
But-
up. That fight's never gonna happen. Like that's just Spence is gonna be
We-
told.
we haven't even-
54.
Crawford at 147.
He's gonna be stronger, no doubt about it. But is his technique gonna be better? He's still gonna be wide open for counters. He's wide open
I
Yeah,
don't know. Don't know
when
what
he starts throwing punches.
yeah, you're right.
Who he fought? He fought Ndongo. Why did he fight Ndongo? He got inside of Ndongo's wide
Yeah, no,
super
yeah.
telegraph. Like, come on, man. That was embarrassing what
Yeah.
Ndongo was doing in there. He's better than that too, but he was
Champion.
scared shitless. Give me a break, man. I mean, anybody in the top 10 would have fucking knocked that fool out at 147. At 140 was just weak as shit because everybody moved up. Matisse would have murdered Ndongo. Are you kidding me? He would have
Yeah.
murdered his ass. Think about it.
You don't think
So what did
Ndongo might
Crawford
have?
do really in that fight?
My
Did he
take
impress?
on the Postal versus Crawford fight was that Crawford saw what Matisse went through against him, meaning you go in there against a taller guy, he's like an octopus, this Postal. He'll grab you, and then when you least expect it, bam, right hand down the middle. I think Crawford said, you know what, let me make...
What? Errol Spence doesn't grab you? He'll grab your ass and start punching you when he grabs your ass. I mean, that's even worse.
I know, but what I'm just explaining is...
That trainer said the other day, Crawford trainer says Earl Spence got so many holes, blah blah blah. We gonna fuck him up. I'm like, man, go, quit talking. Jeff Horn ain't gotta be
Insecurity.
fought. That's the case.
Insecurity. Get in the ring. Shut up or get in the ring. It's insecurity, man.
Okay, so here's my question to you guys. Crawford, first of all, he's with Top Rank, so we might never see that fight. So, but do you think?
We're never gonna see that fight.
So, do you
I don't
think?
think it's happening.
No, it's not.
And it'd be smart for it not to. Errol Spence belong at 54.
So my question.
I don't blame. I kind of don't even blame these 47 dudes if they just steer clear and fight around. Nah, his work is Jared Hurd. His work is up above. But at the end of the day, he's the man of that division to me already. Like
he's not as big as Jared Hurd. He's not as bad. Dude needs to move up. If Spence needs to move up, Jared Hurd needs to move up.
But Spence is good enough to get inside of him. I think it give him a fight. I would love to see him try at least. I don't know. Maybe he can't.
Too strong.
Meet Jared Hurd on the inside. They get inside of his shots and see what's going on.
No,
you will at 160. You will at 160.
Spence, they have to fight. You telling me Terence Crawford's pound for pound number one according to a lot of people? He has to fight Errol Spence or the winner of Errol Spence, Keith Thurman. He has to get in there with the number 2 and number 1 welterweight after. Come on, man, come on.
Yeah, but it's gonna take like years before that shit happens. So look at
Dude, they're setting up the Benavidez cherry pick, man. They're setting that fight up.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? Hyping up that shit.
He's been calling him out since 140, and now he's like moved up because he's lazy and he doesn't make the weight, whatever. Like, and he's looked like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Fight this dude. He's like barely top 20. Fuck that. That's a cherry pick.
That's why I'm like, yo. Top fighters don't get ran down. Like for the most part, you don't see that shit. They did that shit to Broner. Like Robert Guerrero. I remember he did this shit to Broner. Like guys that really will fuck you up. 47 finna get in Spence face like that. Probably not even Thurman face like that.
No,
but I just don't think people believe in Crawford. I honestly don't.
Yeah.
Like, or either they just ain't fine. Or either they just find what kind of losing the decision. Cause that's about all he gonna be at 47. Decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the only reason why Crawford's going up to 147 is for the money, because he should have stayed at 140 a bit longer, I think. But there's no competition. I mean, he's just following the money. That's pretty much what's happening here.
Jeff Horn gonna give him a hell of a fight.
Do you think he's too big? He's 5'8".
He was showing off him being 177, walking around at 177.
He's just not training, but I mean, his real weight should be 140. I mean, with like proper training and all.
But
he's not a big boy. He's not gonna be
no. He was ripped. He was posting pictures a month before that. A month before that, he was posting pictures of himself ripped. Like he's coming up in weight, right? He's working out. He's building his body up, and he was 177 allegedly.
So how come he's not ripped when he fights?
Picture, so I don't know.
So he didn't get fat in 1 month.
James Toney was on the show tonight, man. I missed that.
Yeah, he was here for a brief. He was here for a brief.
Like no bullshit.
Look it up. Rewind it.
Yeah. When we.
I can't understand half of this shit that man says.
Well, listen. He went through a lot of.
Wait, I was gonna say something. Sorry. Like, we're talking about Crawford against Spence. Yeah. This is what might even happen, in my opinion. Spence finally fights Thurman, like maybe in a year or at the end of the year or next year, whatever. And then 154 because he's too big. And then Crawford's not going to move to 154, so that fight never fucking happens. End of story.
Spence is not too big. Spence is not. He's the same size as Crawford, Spence.
I think he's taller than him. Really?
Yeah, he might be 1 inch taller, but they're basically right there. Crawford's just been a major ass weight bully at 135 and 140, and good size welterweight. You know what I mean? And I don't know. We'll see. But I'm telling you guys, he's gonna fight fucking Benavidez. I guarantee you that. Bullshit.
Yeah,
that's Horn, right?
Yep. Because he's gonna get his voluntary, his showcase voluntary fight. That's gonna be that. Yeah, that's a good point. But we really have to see how strong he is at 147.
No, but hold on. They're putting Pacquiao in the same card. On the same card, no?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you think he's going to be he might be fighting Pacquiao, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's what I read. That's a plan.
Well,
I don't know if Bob Arum said that, but it's pretty obvious, no? Like,
we have to see what Pacquiao looks like, and they have to see what Pacquiao looks like. And then they're going to probably decide, do we take Benavidez or do we go for Pacquiao?
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like you said, Bucho, or like you were going to say, the Crawford versus Spence fight, It's never gonna happen because look at how long it's taken just to make Thurman Spence, and they're in the same with the PBC.
That's what I'm saying. And it's yeah.
They got a bit of a break. Thurman injuries, they real, man. Like I give him a pass.
No, fuck that.
I don't think it's
Nah,
real.
he just has to take some of that CTB oil.
No, he's Thurman just admitted to fucking fighting Juiced.
He's fought
on
Jews.
Kevin Ioli's interview. Unless he had a TUE, he basically said he was fighting Juiced. And his injuries, I think it's bullshit, man. Like he's got wear and tear like every other fighter. They just don't talk about it. They get that shit done. They don't talk about it. And Thurman's a bitch because he was like, oh, my knee hurts or my elbow. He had spurs. He had bone spurs in his elbow. So he had like inflammation and it didn't feel right. And they removed them. And it's not like he pulled a muscle. It's not like he broke a bone. No, he just had like little issues that fighters deal with all the time. And he's bitching and moaning and using that as a fucking excuse to juice in the off season and use, my opinion, because he says, I got an injury, so I got to take this cortisol.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think you cut off there.
I give him a pass.
No, I'm done.
I give him a pass. We'll see how he come back. And then he take a few. He gonna take a few shit fights. He
didn't have an injury though. He didn't really have an injury. That's not an injury. It's just like a nagging thing that he got taken care of. It wasn't an injury.
Yeah, he got some big ass bruise and bandages all over his elbows. It looked pretty fucking serious.
But he had that problem, and then go listen to that interview on Kevin Ioli's
Yeah, I heard
channel.
him speak on it. He's saying when you punch, and I see where he's coming from. Depending on his pain threshold, if he's saying bone was on bone, if that's what his doctor's telling him, and his shit's wearing down inside the bones, then I think I give him a pass. But I like the idea that Jesse Vargas set, being why he's taking these non-top, these bullshit fights, get an interim champion or something like that. I wouldn't mind that. But at the end of the day, that's gonna throw off the fight if you say, well, interim champion, you had to fight him, and people like, nah, we want to see you fight Spence instead. So I just give it a pass. The division will play itself out. Other divisions heat up. Why this one that people talk about way too much, just stay a little even. I'm cool with that.
Pacquiao was coming off his shoulder injury, and as far as magnitude of the injury, it was the same shit that Thurman was going through. It wasn't really like a serious injury. It was just a nagging thing, that wear and tear, right? That injury, and he fought Bradley, and then he fought Vargas in the next fight, and he got criticized for both of them fights. You know what I mean? But Keith Thurman, man, get the fuck out of here. Get in that ring. He's a bitch, man. He's acting like a bitch. He wants to travel all over the world and enjoy his money. That's cool. I got no problem with that. Props to him. But he ain't a real one, man. Just Jesse Vargas was gonna beat his ass. Keith Thurman basically told you that.
So?
No, Keith Thurman told you this. Look, if he was confident that he's gonna beat Jesse Vargas, he would have fought him. Why didn't he fight him? Because he wasn't confident he could beat him.
You're right.
So if
he said he would.
If he were to go in the ring not confident like that, Jesse Vargas would have beaten his ass. I'm telling you that. I called it right away. I was like, oh, this is a good ass fight. Keith Thurman coming off layoff fighting Jesse Vargas, that's a 50-50 fight.
Now Lowplace disagrees with you because he said that it's a good move by Thurman.
Yeah, I think it's right. Yeah. I think he's in his prime. It's not like
because he ain't on Pacquiao's level. He ain't on Pacquiao's level.
Well, also he kind of doesn't have to sell like pay-per-views and try to get names that can sell pay-per-views. Pacquiao had to do that. He's not interested in taking that. You just fighting on regular ESPN. He just done it.
He's a champion.
But whatever.
He's a champion.
No, they are. I mean, you can't sell. Let's say if they try to do Mike Alvarado after the shoulder injury, you can't sell that shit.
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
Like,
so who's he gonna fight?
Pacquiao needs to retire.
No, he's not fighting on pay-per-view no more. Don't worry about that.
Thurman.
Like, that shit's over.
No, who's Thurman gonna fight? That's a tune-up. And who's gonna watch that shit? That's what I'm asking. Cause
I mean, think about it. They got Baidu Jack and Adonis Stevenson on the same night. All right, so you giving a great fight. Throw Thurman somewhere on the undercard with God knows who. Nobody's gonna give a shit.
All I'm saying,
will, but anybody with common sense is just gonna say fuck them. Baidu Jack and Adonis Stevenson fighting. Fuck Thurman.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. It's in the undercard.
A year ago, who was picking Thurman over Pacquiao? A year ago, who?
I
Now
would.
Pacquiao ducking Thurman because Thurman's gonna whoop his ass, and Pacquiao can't handle
I would
Thurman,
have.
right?
I would have. I think I would have. He's a real
But
welterweight.
Thurman ain't half the G Pacquiao is. Pacquiao fought Vargas. He fought the guy that beat Vargas coming off an injury at the age of 40,
Oh, it's
37,
true.
36. Because, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
come
true,
on,
but
man. Let's keep it real.
It's true.
yeah, but that's
Thurman-
true. But style for
Thurman don't
style,
wanna fight-
I think I still
Thurman don't
just
want to fight Jesse Vargas.
Oh,
Pacquiao
but
got
it's not about
criticized for
styles.
fighting Jesse Vargas.
It's not
That's
about
a very
styles.
good
I mean, you have a young guy in his prime, like Thurman, coming off a big win. Okay, he had an injury, but Pacquiao's like, how old was he after the Mayweather fight and the injury and all, and fucking fights
He was like
Vargas?
35. He
Yeah.
fought Vargas after he fought Bradley, after he
Yeah,
fought
oh, yeah, after
Mayweather.
I give him a pass. He also said his the physical therapy stuff. They had a snag in that shit. That stuff happens, man. Like
No, I'm cool with that. No, I'm
our
cool with that.
surgeries
Lowplace,
change.
I agree with you.
Everything
I
changes.
agree with you, man. I agree with you. I'm not.
Can come back. Some guys can easily come back. I wouldn't say he's not a real fighter. His resume says that's why people trying to say he's ducking Spence right away. I'm like, nah, man. His resume say so far he gonna fight him. Like,
All
and I'm
I'm
no
saying-
Keith Thurman fan. I done had to put some of his fanboys in a place, but his resume so far says he's gonna do it. But I give him a pass on if he really went through it and say, yo, I might be losing something right here. I we'll see in the tune-up. Maybe he takes that one bout, blows somebody out, and next thing you know, he ready to rock. I'd see. We'll see.
I'm not criticizing Thurman at all. I give him a pass too. I agree with you. All I'm saying is that he ain't half the fighter that Pacquiao is. So don't be fucking telling me a year ago that Thurman was gonna beat Pacquiao, because I called bullshit on that a long time ago. And if Thurman ain't even confident he could beat Vargas, how the fuck you gonna tell me he was gonna beat Pacquiao ever?
I don't know.
Ever?
Thurman at his best is a hell of an opponent for Pacquiao. I would favor him at his best.
He don't
I
got the
would've
balls
said-
to fight Pacquiao's leftovers.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If he
wait
ain't
for
fighting
me in the
Pacquiao's
house.
leftovers, he ain't fighting Pacquiao. Period.
Okay, we could say that Pacquiao has had the balls to fight Porter. Instead, he was fighting. I know they sparred a lot, but that's different than saying, "Yo, get in the ring with me, go 12 and get a winner and a loser."
Pacquiao
You know,
has
you
the
can
balls
say
to
that.
fight Porter. No, Pacquiao.
Well, we hadn't seen it. He was fighting
But let-
Vargas instead, so we don't know.
Hold on. Low place, but that's crazy. You can't compare anybody's resume in the sport right now as far as who they fought or what balls they got, because nobody got more balls than Manny Pacquiao. Hold on.
I don't think it's as hard as people.
Hold on. Calm down, bro. I'm talking. I'll let you talk when I finish. And man, you're just a fucking cock blocker, man. I'm flowing over here. I'm in my groove. I'm schooling you. And you.
Resume, but I disagree. His resume, if you could pick it some of the way that Bob Arum picked it, and we're gonna be honest, he picked a lot of this shit, and he done it right. I give Pacquiao credit. He was still smaller than these dudes, but when you got a Cotto telling
13 for 14 of Pacquiao. This is a fact. 13 or 14 of Pacquiao's fights in just as many years was against an opponent that was at the time on the pound for pound list. Okay, show me another fighter who's done that with. You won't even be able to find that.
You said 13, 14. How many is last what?
In about as many years, try to keep up, bro. In about as many years, so 13 or 14 pound for pound opponents in about 15 years. We'll give him a year to fight a voluntary, like Keith Thurman's bitch ass.
I don't know.
Nobody in this sport has fought the level of opposition that Pacquiao has, and that's a fight. That's a fact.
Their careers are not nowhere near over. Like, he is just toward the end. That doesn't mean that this same Pacquiao we talk about want to be in with Sean Porter when we see him say,
when Pacquiao was Keith Thurman's age, he was a champion in how many divisions? And he was fighting who? Morales? Marquez?
Listen,
I mean, come on. You can't compare.
Neither one of these dudes are bitches. It's not that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just simply saying at this age, at where he is, you just look at him say Thurman beats him, and I don't think he wants to get in with a Porter at this age right now. He's kind of proved that. His opponent said, yo, I take Jesse Vargas.
They weren't even calling out Pacquiao. They weren't even calling out Pacquiao.
Beating him 2 times already. Like, what's the point in the third Bradley fight? You beat him 2 times already. We don't even know where Bradley is amongst the real welterweights because he was busy just being Pacquiao's sort of.
It was more money than any other fight at the time. The reason why he fought Bradley is because it was more money than any other available fighter.
I don't think Bradley brings money. Bradley couldn't even sell out StubHub versus.
No. Bradley and Pacquiao had fought 2 fights where Bradley won the first, supposedly. Pacquiao won the second. And there was a lot of Pacquiao fans who were pissed off about that first fight, and they wanted to see Pacquiao knock out Bradley.
The second one is fine,
beat him
but
again.
the third one is too much. The second one is fine, but then you find a new person for that was ad nauseum. You just don't do
No, this shit was a setup. It was a complete fucking setup, like maybe Golovkin Canelo will be, right? Bradley gets the first fight, even though he doesn't win. And so you got to have a rematch, right? And then, we got to settle it. Yeah, of course, it was bullshit. It was a setup. But he still fought a top-level opponent, and he became the lineal welterweight champion in that fight, the third Bradley fight. So everybody could go fuck.
This man, they were not in every. I've seen several different rankings where they were not 1 and 2, and this lineal shit's rewarded. And then they don't give it to Jeff Horn after Pacquiao. Shit's real fishy because it was several ratings. I remember people saying they fighting for the lineage at the time of the fight. I believe TBR, I can't pronounce that shit. TB2, BoxRec may have them 1 and 2, but I remember
they did.
Boxing Scene, and several others did not have these guys 1 and 2. They actually punished Bradley.
Boxing Scene is not relevant, but Ring Magazine.
Universal ratings, though. When you talking universal ratings, when you're universally saying number 1 and number 2 need to be in the ring to fight for lineage, you're discrediting that whenever you see these ratings and somebody's not doing that thing. Like Bradley.
No. I never heard anybody talk about Boxing Scene ratings.
He kept losing. Like to keep losing and say, oh, but I fought this guy. Oh, but are you fighting these guys or fighting better opponents? To me, I didn't think he was number 2 best welterweight or showing better performances instead of losing. I didn't think Bradley was number 2 welterweight at all. And I was upset.
That's up to you, yeah.
But every ranking,
every
ranking didn't have when that came out. When that came out, and they were saying they fighting for lineage. I remember. I wish I would have took the screenshots of them and been making videos then. But not every ranking had them 1 and 2. When Badu Jack and James DeGale fought, every ranking you could go to it 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm like, that's lineage. This shit is universal. This is just like roll the dice. They hear. It's the 2. Nah, man, I wasn't feeling that.
You just made that up, but that's okay. You just made that the whole ranking thing. You just made all that up, but
I didn't. I actually did that. I actually did that when they started announcing that in videos.
You can look it up, bro. You can look it up. Go to archive.org and go look it up and make a video and send me a link. So, all right, we're gonna say you're right, but just make that video prove it, and don't make me do it. But man, people saying, all I wanted to say was people saying that Thurman was going to whoop Pacquiao's ass is bullshit. That's all I wanted to say, really. And if you look at how they comport themselves and who they fight and what they've proven, case closed, man. Let's move on, guys. Or maybe it's time to call it.
Yeah, I would say it's
not up to me, obviously.
Well, I would say it's time to call it. It was a very fucking good debate. You two should take this show on the road. If we didn't have
so you saying no I want to know you saying this website, because none of these places backdate their rankings except for TBR, but I remember specifically when these people were coming on saying,
bro, I don't care. You could be right. It doesn't matter. You're right. We'll say you're right, bro. You're right.
Let's answer the question. So you saying archive.org will have boxing scenes old rankings? That's what you're saying?
No, I'm saying I have never in my life argued for anybody using what Boxing Scene says, and I've never ever in my life ever heard anybody else. I just wasn't even thinking about boxing. Twitter.
They've been ranking way longer than they've been doing that way longer than them. So yeah,
Boxing Scene, man. Boxing Scene is just like gossip.
No, they got damn good news. And when every person who writes wants that shit to be on Boxing Scene just about.
Who's on their panel? Who's on their panel?
I don't know. I don't know the rings panel. I don't know anybody's panel.
But
I just look
have
at
a panel. But they have a panel. Do they even have a panel?
Say
or is it
if
just
you're
one
one
dude?
and two, if you're 1 and 2, I don't know. But if you're 1 and 2, the way to be 1 and 2 is beat everybody. Then you don't need a panel.
No, I told you, dude. You're right. You're right. I already told you. You're right. All I'm saying, I don't even understand why you're even keeping on with this, because I already agreed with you. I said, you're right, I'm wrong. All I'm saying is that Keith Thurman ain't half the fighter Pacquiao is. Period. Case closed.
Well, there you go, guys.
I could get upset.
No, but I'm not going to. You guys, you had a good debate. You two, like I said, you always get in.
Beat Earl Spence, he might have a better win than
Lowplace.
Pacquiao.
Lowplace. We're gonna let this.
You gotta let his career finish.
Lowplace.
He beat Earl Spence.
Jeez, Luis. Lowplace. We're gonna
You
continue
name
this.
the Pacquiao win is better than beating this
Round
dominant dude
2.
right now.
Round 2 is gonna take place on Saturday. If you guys want to join us. By the way, what did I say was gonna? Oh yeah, okay, yeah. This Saturday there's no boxing, but there is a UFC card. Let's come up with some I'm gonna come up with some subjects, and Bucho as well, for Saturday's podcast. Really try to make this good. Really try to get on that. I want to keep talking about that Ortiz Wilder fight. Of course, I want to get your take on the actual fight, if it ever happens, between Thurman and Errol Spence, because we know that Crawford is with the top rank, so that fight might not happen. So let's stick to fights that could realistically take place. As always, Precise, last question for you, because I forgot to ask you, what's next for you in your channel? What can we look forward to, or you get any special projects, any videos we should look out for?
What?
Yes.
Me? Hi?
Yes. Yes, you.
Yeah. Who are you talking to?
You, Precise.
Oh, well, I was just gonna do. I guess I owe everybody a review video of the cruiserweight unification match we just had.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I've been thinking about.
Now, if you use clips from that fight, it's a fairly recent fight. Can't you get a reprimanded by YouTube or something?
It's not HBO. It ain't Top Rank. It'll be alright.
Those Russian fights, like in Russian shit, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't give it. They're stealing enough American content now. All right, so again,
I want to talk about next week, next Saturday, Groves and Eubank Jr.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that fight as well. That's gonna be an entertaining one, and of course, I'm pretty sure Hamed has something to say about that. All right, so guys, I want to thank everybody that was in the panel. Everybody that was in the panel tonight. I want to thank Hamed, who came in here. I want to thank Lowplace. I want to thank Precise Puncher, as always. We're going to put your links in the description. Check out Lowplace's YouTube channel and his Twitter handle. And check out Precise Puncher's channel as well. I want to thank everybody that was in the chat room tonight. Aiden Morrison, who kept plugging the channel. Wheat Degree. Canelo, give me my fight. I know Rod T. Davies was in here for a while. Boxing Fairy Tale. Pavel was in there as well. Mateus Lees. Omar. Who else am I missing here? Come on. Well, anyway, you guys know who you are. I can't go to the beginning of the chat, but Chris Gonzalez, who just showed up as well. Guys, I'm going to thank you. Keep it up. We are moving to this channel for the live podcast, Boxing Debate Arena Live. And again, Bucho, we got to do these live hangouts, but for the non-boxing, because the last time Lowplace and Lowplace Victor and me, we were talking about the dark web. And then people in the chat room were like, come on, keep it to boxing. So I enjoy talking with people here, even if it's not about boxing. So we should start, you get on that either here on BDA Live or on that new channel you're working on. What's it called?
Yeah, it's ready. Second Renaissance.
Second Renaissance, yeah. So we got to keep diversifying.
The Second Renaissance.
The second, of course. How could I have forgotten that? The Second Renaissance. So we'll keep it, we'll try to do these non-boxing hangouts, just to talk about everything that's going on in the world right now, or your opinions about, relationships or geopolitics, whatever crosses your mind, even if it's innocuous, we're gonna talk about it. So guys, I want to thank you again for another excellent BDA Live podcast. You are the guys that make this show happen, and so subscribe, like, give us your comments, and we'll see you on the next one, folks. Take care. Take it easy, guys.